Hey guys, it's Tripwire. I just wanted to say before this video starts that this is going to be a pretty normal thing on my YouTube channel from now on. Myself, Iron Strix, and Vorpal Tongues are starting up a weekly podcast known as the Recipe for Disaster podcast. And every single week I'm going to try to upload it to my YouTube channel for anybody that can't watch it live on Twitch and is interested in seeing it. If you do want to watch it live, it's going to happen every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/iron_strix. So, with that being said, if you don't really care about this type of content and you're only here for the progress videos, I understand. But I just wanted to give people the option of watching it on my YouTube channel. And I apologize for the agility clip for this intro. I don't have a scene on OBS Studio of just my webcam. So, anyway, enjoy the very first ever Recipe for Disaster podcast.
We're sorry if Rob's a slideshow. For some reason, Rob's webcam source is messed up, even though the audio is all good.
That's what it is.
Yeah, he's potato quality.
Like, I don't know why.
Yeah, we don't know why it
Nobody
does
knows
this.
why.
We're gonna try Google Hangouts. Right now, we're using Skype to do it, but we're gonna try Hangouts and see how Hangouts works. So, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna move chat to the other monitor. I forget where I had chat last time, because we need to look at the topics. So the topics for today, I guess the first thing we want to talk about is the results from the previous poll, right?
Yeah, sure.
We can start with that, because the last poll was the PVM quality of life, right? So the big thing on that poll was that we have another Dagannoth layer. There's going to be 2 Dagannoth layers now. One for Slayer tasks only, and one for the rest of the year, I guess. The rest of the time. Thoughts?
Finally?
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's like about time, right?
Yeah, we should have had that a
That's
long
how I
time
feel
ago.
about it. Because they pulled it forever ago, right? And it failed. For whatever reason, it failed. We don't know why, but it did. And now we finally get one, which is great. Because I think everyone can agree for the most part that the price of the rings is going to go down, but it's a lot better that you can actually go to DKs, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, like naturally, the price of the rings was going to go down anyways if people were constantly always camping DKs on task. I mean, eventually the supply of rings should outpace the amount of players that want them, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we've finally reached the point in the game where it's like it's cool if the rings get devalued a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're what, 4 years into old school RuneScape? I think that's plenty of time.
Yeah, almost 4 years. And I think that, I mean, the Zerker ring's 4 mil currently. It's higher than it even used to be.
Yeah.
So if that goes down a little bit, I don't think people really care. It's a small price to pay for actually being able to do DKs again.
Yeah. Because I know it's probably a little less horrible for you, Chase, but at least just an Iron Man going there, it's fucking awful. It's awful. You spend like 20 minutes hopping worlds to find a world, and then you'll probably get crashed.
Yeah, I don't really have to worry about that, luckily.
Terrible.
But it's still an exercise in frustration going there. Getting all the way... The lair is just so far away. It's such an inconvenient place. And then you get there, and then you have to hop like 30 times. It's just really horrible, regardless of your account status. And I think that the fact that it didn't pass last time that was pulled is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
There was no reason for it not to.
How was work? Good. Good to hear. How's Ashton?
I thought there was a stranger in your house.
Yeah, you only live here, I know. She's finishing off the rest of the whipped cream.
Oh, so do we want to do like introductions? We didn't actually do that.
Hi, my name's Rob. I'm an Iron Man and a vegan, and I vape. Also, I got called a cunt today. There's a funny story why, and I will tell that later.
You'll probably get called that again before the night's over.
Oh, I'm sure I will.
No, actually, I couldn't hear that.
And I am...
No, that's okay.
Do you want to sell out your username? I know it's right below you, but you just said Rob. If anybody...
Oh, yeah. My name's Vorpal Tongues on Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, hello.
Go follow
Part
Rob.
of the KOA team.
Yeah. And I'm Tripwire, as you can... I hope you can read. It's right below me, right below my face. If you can't read, I don't know what you're doing here.
If they can't read, they probably They probably
Well,
grew up
learn
in
to-
somewhere like Mississippi.
Learn to read so that you can contribute to the Twitch chat. But yeah, I'm Tripwire, and every week this is going to be hosted on Nigel's channel where you are currently. But make sure to go and show
That's
Rob
me.
and myself some love if you want to. You guys can't read. None of them can read apparently. Thanks, guys.
We picked the wrong format.
We did.
We should have picked a website where
Well, it
people
sounds
could
like the audio only podcast is right for you guys then.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, yeah,
it's
every week-
fantastic.
Recipe for Disaster podcast. This is the first one. It'll be happening every Friday at in this time slot on Nigel's channel, and it should also be available on both my YouTube channel and Nigel's YouTube channel after the podcast is over, as well as uploaded to the Kids of Age website. After
That's
each
right. We're
podcast.
finally using the Kids of Age website.
Hell
for
yeah,
something,
and it should be
which
downloadable.
makes me feel really good.
Yeah,
that we're finally using
very
the
nice.
website.
All right, sellout over. Sorry about that. I feel like it was necessary.
Okay,
Can't
we're done
read
selling
your
out.
death.
Yay, sellouts.
Yeah.
All right, so what the heck else was in that PVM quality of life poll? I actually I'm going to the poll booth right now, taking a look at it. History,
Ellie changes.
10 PVM suggestions.
Yes.
Yeah, the LE change was in there. What I thought was really funny, and we talked about this yesterday, the LE changes. Everyone said it was an LE buff, but like it was kind of more like an LE. Like, why the fuck doesn't the LE work in these
It's
places?
it's an LA bug fix, kind of.
Yeah, I would classify it as like a fix.
That's how I viewed it.
I mean, technically, most of the places you're not even going to use the LE, like crazy archaeologists. Like, who the fuck is taking their LE to crazy arc? You know, like who's taking it to corp beast? Like,
Don't you get full damage?
I guess people will take it to corp maybe for like blocking damage.
Yeah, but you get full damage protection with Protect from Mage at Crazy Archaeologist already, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
There's
Like,
no- there's
like
no
why
reason.
why would you take it to like Vedian or like, there's so many places you just wouldn't take it, but like it doesn't make sense that the LE doesn't work there anyways.
Yeah.
If you did want to do it.
And I remember there
And the
was
reason
a
this all
Reddit
came about
post.
was the Din's Bulwark, right? Because the Din's Bulwark works all those places.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why people like threw their hands up and was like, whoa, wait a minute.
There was a Reddit post about the LE not working in specific boss places for no reason, like ages ago, and now it's finally
was
being
a very
addressed.
long time ago. I think it didn't become like a big thing until the Din's Bulwark came out, and it
Yeah.
worked in all those places.
I think it's
I think that's what brought it back.
they probably also wouldn't mind seeing the LE's price bounce back a bit, but it's kind of silly that they didn't address
it's
it
so
beforehand.
cheap right now.
It
It's
is.
500 mil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It dropped to 467 at its lowest, and that was at the start. Or no, that was on the 8th of January. It's like a couple days after raids.
Yeah. Damn, that's low.
Yeah.
It's low. I'm thinking about that. I'm like, man, I wouldn't even have to like mortgage my house to buy that. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. None of us are homeowners. Feels bad, man.
Flatline did, Martin.
Full-time
Yeah.
nerds is what we are.
Flatline did our graphics. We got him
Yeah.
on a retainer now.
Big shout out to him, Flatline. I think he's Flatline TV on Twitch, or on Twitter rather. He
Yeah,
is
at
amazing with
Flatline
graphic
TV.
works.
Yeah, he's a wonderful dude. Did it for a great price. Got it done quickly,
Oh yeah.
Mm.
and it looks great.
And
What more can you
the
ask
thing is,
for?
like, the best thing about Flatline is you don't need to give him any direction. He's just naturally talented. He will come up with something amazing. The only thing we gave him was the name of the podcast, and this is what he came up with, and it's brilliant.
Yep.
Yeah.
He'll run with anything.
Amazing. No problemos. We're probably gonna get him to do an animated start screen as well. So like, if these podcasts go really well, we're just gonna invest more into it, guys.
Yep.
I'm going to
So-
blow him at TwitchCon.
Straight up.
And I'm gonna watch.
Because KOA, we like to watch.
I don't want to like participate, but I want to support him still, so I'll watch.
We're there to support you, Rob.
Mhm.
We'll
Thank
be
you.
cheering
Like, that
you
means
on.
a lot
Like,
to
go,
me.
Rob, go. Go, Rob, go.
Yeah.
We'll get like some sort of cheer. We'll figure out a cheer for him. Okay. Anyway, so LE changes were good, right? We can all
Yeah.
agree like it's not a silly thing for them to do to make the LE make sense.
No,
a little bit.
I think it's a good thing.
All right. So one of the only things that failed on the poll, peeking into the boss room. We talked about this last night as well. Peeking into boss rooms. What do you think about it?
You mean for
I think
the
it's-
boss HP, correct? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
boss
saying?
HP.
Yeah.
When you peek into the boss room, it shows the boss's HP. That failed.
Yeah.
As an Iron Man, like, all right, so I
That's
am
gonna
a
come up
niche.
a lot.
It is. Like as someone that's part of like a niche in the community, like there's only what like 5% of the community, I think you said last night, that are actually Iron Men. Like there's not a whole lot of us, but like for an Iron Man, it's like if you go into a boss room and you're attacking something, like it might have a few damage off of it, you don't really notice, and you get the kill, but you still don't get loot. Like
I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me at Bandos. That happened to me so often.
It happened to me like 3 times the other day at KQ, and I was furious about it. Like just having the option to see boss health whenever you peek in would be amazing. Or like have it so after the boss has been left alone for a set amount of time, it just resets completely in terms of HP. And just, like,
that's what I would love.
Everything. Either one would work perfectly.
If you were out of the boss room, like nobody was in the boss room, the boss just resets. Like similar to Corp. How when no one's in the Corp room, the Corp just resets.
Serb does the same, doesn't he?
Yeah. Serb resets when nobody's in the room.
Yeah.
It solves so many problems. Like so many problems are solved by doing that.
Yeah.
Of course, the issue is at Corp that it also opens up. You don't have this problem at Serb, but at Corp it's a thing. You're able to lower Corp's defense and stuff, and then come back into the room and it's still lowered. I guess I could just make that so it's not the case with other bosses. I like that they have Corp like that because it makes it possible to solo Corp as an Iron Man. Without that mechanic, it's not possible. It's not something you can even do.
Actually, Crypthead in the chat raises an interesting point, which is it might be difficult to implement if they're not in a specific boss room. It's like, how would you?
Not necessarily, because like any boss that isn't in a room, I mean, you're not going to be able to peek in on it anyway.
That's a good point.
That's
actually,
true.
I guess it's a self-solving issue there.
Yeah, like you can't peek in the room for Chaos Fanatic. There isn't a room for it.
Right.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
But I mean, I think it's especially an issue at God Wars Dungeon. God Wars Dungeon is a place where it's a problem. And
certainly.
Are there
the fact that this didn't pass, it just makes me scratch my head because like, who does this affect negatively?
Yeah, there's no reason for it not to have passed. People, I just think I don't think they think like that. They don't think there's no downside. Might as well vote for it. They just think, yeah, fuck that, fuck this, or they just don't read it. They're just that kind of person. They just say no for no reason.
I cannot see why it didn't pass.
Yeah,
like. If people were gonna crash you already, they didn't care what hit points the boss was at.
Yeah, that's true.
They didn't peek in the boss room and go like, "Oh no, Zilliana's almost dead. We'll wait for the next kill." They just went in the room and crashed you. It's generally what I found. Maybe it was just a question a lot of people skipped.
That could be too.
Because we talked about this. We talked about this yesterday too. The more people skip a question, the more the no votes matter.
Yeah. So
it's kind of a weird thing that sometimes some questions get a lot of. Let me just check the poll booth real quick here. We can take a look at it. History. EVM suggestions. What was it? No, not an extraordinary amount of people even skipped the question. It's just a lot of people voted no. Like 30% of players voted no.
Actually, Alistara makes a good point. Did I imagine that, or was that on a poll recently where they're offering to put the peak option for the Calfight Queen? Okay, for the shortcut rather than having to go into the room with the actual tunnel down. Yeah. Okay, that's really good. I really like that change.
Yeah, I mean, while I'm at the poll booth, we might as well just go through those PVM suggestions, which is, it was, here it is. Question 2, should we add a crack in the floor in the safe space near the descendants to the Calfight Queen's chamber and Dagonoth King's chamber so that players can peek and then world hop without being in combat? So they want like a little safe spot.
Yeah, that's good.
Where you can just peek and world hop, peek and world hop, peek and world hop. So yeah, that makes things a lot better because that's one of the most annoying parts about doing KQ and Dagonoths is
but it's
you
like
gotta waste
that pass, right?
Back and forth.
That's passing, right? Didn't that pass?
Yeah, that passed. Like, that was last week.
It's like in the same vein as having the ability to see boss health. There's no downside.
There's like no downside.
Why didn't that one pass?
It doesn't hurt anyone. Yeah. Or unless you say like it devalues all the weird stam potion usages I had to use.
Yeah, if any of you happen to watch our podcast and at any point think to yourself, I'm going to type a message that starts with, but it devalues X, just fuck off.
Just please don't.
Or please like direct your complaints to our Gmail account or something.
Yeah, you can send it to our Gmail. What is it? It's at RF. What?
It's what is it? RFD podcast OSRS at gmail.com. Please direct.
We actually do have an email account.
We do.
You guys can just send us stuff to our email.
Please direct complaints there. They'll never get read.
I think Chase has access to it.
I do.
We all have access to the Twitter.
Yes.
You're the only one. You're the only one who will read the emails.
I won't read.
But anyone
emails.
wants to
Unless they're to
sponsor
Rob.
us.
Send them to Rob.
Yeah, you can send them to me, especially business inquiries.
Yeah.
If you want to sponsor us, man, we're down for it. We'll
You
take
wanna-
any kind of
You want to
sponsorship.
hire Rob to
Didn't we
blow
want
you
to?
at
Didn't we
TwitchCon?
want to get sponsored by Auto Hotkey?
We did.
Yeah.
Where was
Someone
I
make
for
that a
this?
thing.
Everyone tweet at Auto Hotkeys on Twitter and tell them we really need to be sponsored by them. Make
Like,
it
I
happen,
paid
guys.
them to sponsor us.
Like, we're not allowed to use you anymore, but you want to sponsor us?
Just for
I
the
still use
band.
Auto Hotkeys.
Well,
Not
that's
for like
true.
any mouse key stuff, but to
To
remap,
remap,
keys.
right.
Yeah, that's what I use it for.
All right.
My keyboard layout. My F keys are like kind of far away from the rest of the keyboard. You know, I actually thought about wearing my flannel shirt today. Shannon in the chat says I like flannel. I noticed you both are wearing flannel. I am not wearing flannel.
Flannel's amazing.
I was making a choice when I picked my t-shirt this morning. I was like, okay, do I just want to wear something like comfy and look, casual? Or do I want to like, get a button up and stuff?
See, my question
It's
is, since
normally what I wear.
I live in Maine, so my question was like, do I want to be cold today? And I was like, no, I don't. Also, though, I am rocking my Witwix Sanic t-shirt
Ooh.
today. Shout out to Witwix.
Nice.
He's never gonna see this fucking podcast, but shout out anyway.
Almost
I
a
wear
scares
a lot
podcast.
of flannel when I'm not wearing a hoodie.
Hey guys, it's Scares
Almost a
here.
fucking scares.
Yeah.
Go get
Careful,
the
man.
hat or get the flannel. Chat's just right in the chat
Get
right now.
both, man. And if you can get some dip too, just really complete the K-Kona look. Do it.
hmm Do I want to be normal Strix or lumber Strix? I sexually identify as a lumber
Oh
sexual.
boy.
You know, it's actually a term people use to describe guys who kind of
I've heard that before.
stylize themselves as lumberjacky look, where they, they wear jeans and flannel and stuff like that all the time.
Yeah.
They have a rugged beard, things like that.
I'm
It's called
I'm all
lumber
those things.
sexual.
I have a beard, flannel, and jeans.
Today I learned Chase is lumber sexual.
If you fell trees, it's my biggest turn on.
You have the
Uh,
beaver pet, don't you?
I do have the beaver pet. I got that one
Ooh.
ages ago.
Yeah, that's his favorite pet.
What were
Reminds
we
me of good
talking about?
times.
I don't know.
Something. Something
Pole,
to do with
pole
poles.
stuff, boss health. That one.
Oh yeah, peeking in.
Peaking.
How did we get from
Yeah,
that to lumber sexual?
Because
Why wouldn't we?
we always have lumber
True.
sexuals on the mind.
True, we do.
Our minds think
Yeah.
alike. Okay, so moving on.
Yeah.
They increased Dark Relic. Dark Relics give you.
Oh yeah, it's the XP
It's
lamp
not.
basically.
It passed the poll. It's not in the game yet,
Right.
but it'll give you 150% times, or 150 times, not percent. 150 times your level in a skill that's used in raids.
That's not bad.
So that would be your combat skills: mining, woodcutting, herbler, farming, hunter, cooking, fishing, thieving, firemaking, and agility. So, what this comes down to is if you're level 90 in a skill, I think it gives calculator TI-84. Hello, 90 times 150. There you go. It's 13,500. So 13.5k XP. It's a lot better than it currently is, just 5k and some
See,
combat.
that
stat.
definitely makes it better, but I mean, I've only had one of those relics to begin with ever. I feel like they're not that
I've
common.
had 3.
Really?
I've had 3.
Bad luck then.
Yeah. That's why I don't have any items from raids, because you get 3 dark relics. Screwed.
I don't have any
But
items
still,
for raids 'cause I burnt out.
13,500 XP in herbler or agility doesn't feel that bad.
No, it's pretty good.
That's pretty decent, actually. Can't use the lamp on Slayer? No. When are we gonna get a Strix TI-84? When I get the
Can you
sub
just
button,
autograph them and sell them? I'd buy one.
TI-84?
Could you autograph
Yeah,
and
dude.
sell? You think you might run into legal trouble with Texas Instruments on that one?
No. It's
Not if,
Strix
we get, not if
calculator.
we get sponsored by Texas Instruments.
True.
True. Make that happen.
Yo,
I used your product once in a podcast. Pay me.
please pay me. I'd like to be paid. Please pay me.
Wouldn't we all
All
like
right.
to be paid?
So what else was there in the quality of life? We reduced the KBD spawn timer. It's 10 seconds now.
Oh yeah,
It got,
that's
the,
really
it got
good.
the mole treatment.
Yep, the mole treatment makes
Yep.
it so much more tolerable.
It really does. I mean, it was kind of annoying. You would go to KBD, you get a kill, and then you sit around with your dick in your hand for 30 seconds, which is pretty lame.
Yep.
I mean, it made no sense because like you had instance boss rooms, you know. Like,
Yeah, there was no
we had
reason the
instance
timer had to be
KBD.
so long.
Yeah, so it was just bizarre, very bizarre. Spectral Spirit Shield now reduces so the same effect that Spectral
All
has
big
at
attacks.
Serb is now for all stuff that smites you. So
Yeah,
Zammy,
that's pretty good.
Does that work at Barrows?
I wonder.
It says attacks. That's not an attack. It's an
Yeah.
effect.
Mm,
Yeah, that's like an area of effect.
Yeah, I don't
That would
think
be
so.
cool though.
yeah.
That'd be incredible.
That would be. It's not like Barrows is even that hard.
No, it's really
No,
it's,
it's not.
it's
Decently
like
leveled
niche
account.
use for a medium level account probably, but like a medium level
Yeah.
account probably can't get a spectral, so it's like never mind.
No.
you're like I made a Spectral pure just for doing it.
You're like on second thought, this doesn't fucking help at all for Barrows.
Like, man, this is a waste of 2 months making this account.
It's good for people who consider Barrows to be real PVM. That's the niche appeal.
Real PVM.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, what
You
else?
can
is
offend
there?
all the real PVMers.
So the
We're just taking groups of people in RuneScape and just crossing them off our list. Just nope, not you.
we're gonna offend a different group of people every week. That's the plan,
Mhm.
right? Okay,
That's the goal.
cool. Yeah, good.
This week it was the real PVMers that think Barrows is real PVM. All right, so that's probably everything interesting that happened last week, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
In terms of like the
I
poll,
think so.
don't think there was anything. Trident. You don't have to empty your hands for the Trident anymore.
Oh
That
yeah,
passes poll.
that's just a good quality of life thing.
That's neat.
Yeah, that's just it was so dumb. Like you'd be doing Zulrah and you're like, all right, time to recharge the Trident, and you go to get all your
Your
crap
hands
out of the
are
bank.
full.
You got to get like 4 different things out of the bank. You take the Trident off, use it on it. You're like, you need to empty your hands. You're like,
Because you got a shield or a book, something
why?
like that.
Yeah.
Actually, something in that vein, I think I would like to see personally, and also not a big deal, but blowpipe. When you want to swap out the type of darts you're using, I don't think you should have to unload it first. I think you should just be able to
Yeah, just use the darts on it.
and have it just swap.
Yeah. Like, why can't you just use the darts
Yeah.
on the blowpipe? Please. Jamflex, please. It's going to be the
Future
number one
update.
cry of this podcast. Jamflex, please. Yeah, so that's everything from last week, I think. Oh, yeah, and Divine. We got... Well, one cool thing I think they're doing lately is instead of just polling stuff, they're using the poll system to, like, get suggestions feedback. So kind of like when they have multiple options, like with Divine, they're like, okay, do you want the Divine? Do you not want the Divine? If we were to do the Divine, what would you want? And they try to get people's opinions on how they should go about polling something, because there's a lot of different ways they can do a lot of different content. So I think it's good that they're starting to get like these player surveys mixed into their polls, because it's good to get feedback from the players, right? Not just yes or no answers.
And it's also good to collect feedback from players that isn't entirely on Reddit.
You don't say. Well, I mean, there's also the feedback of people crying on Twitter,
What am
which
I
we
playing
experienced today.
I should do that
of
more.
This week's poll.
I should cry on Twitter more often.
Yeah, I hear that's how we get updates, complaining about things.
Squeaky wheel and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wiki Wheel gets the kick, or is it the grease?
The grease. What's the kick?
It's one of the two. I like to kick my wheels. Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna judge. No kink shaming on our podcast.
Was that a rule we agreed upon?
No. No, you can kink shame if you want to. Remember, we have to offend as many people as possible. So.
That's the goal, right?
Well, I mean, it's the mindset of any attention is good attention, right? Any publicity is good publicity. If people are mad at us, that means
Is
more
my name
eyes.
Return of
right?
Wilderness?
God, I hope not.
Oh no, it's not. Okay, good.
Okay,
I had to think for a second there.
thank God.
All right, so yeah, on the topic of squeaky wheels and kicking them, this week's poll, question number 1: in the main inventory side panel, should you be able to trigger the drop option on the item by holding Shift while left-clicking it? This would also work similar for options such as release on non-stackable hunter creatures. So, lizards
Oh boy,
and
this
stuff
will be
like
probably something very controversial to talk about.
that. Shift-click to drop. Shift-click to drop.
Who wants to go first?
People really don't understand how much faster that is compared to AHK. Like, it doesn't seem like it would be in practicality, but like, you got to think. So it's what? 2 actions? You're pressing Shift and you're clicking. versus
You
one
just hold
action.
down shift.
Drop,
I wouldn't
drop
even
down,
count
quick
it. I
hits.
wouldn't even count holding shift as an action.
No,
Like,
that's an
not
offhand thing that you
It
do.
basically somebody made a good point. I read this on Reddit earlier today. There was a big thread about it. Somebody made a good point, which is when you right click drop, over the course of like I think it's 99 barbarian fishing or something. That's like 200,000 less right clicks. Like it's a lot of a lot of work we're cutting out.
That's a lot of actions.
It's a lot of work we're cutting out here.
And also, like the scripts can be very, very fast, but like most of us, if we play a lot of RuneScape, we can click in our inventory very quickly.
Oh yeah, I demonstrated earlier for my stream. I took out an inventory of grimy herbs and cleared the whole inventory of grimy herbs in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So I mean, people who are really good at clicking, people like Adam, people who play the game a lot,
Wooks.
that are able to just clear their inventory super fast. We're just gonna hold down shift and just go through the inventory, and it's probably gonna be faster than if we used mouse keys.
It certainly will be.
Yep.
It'll be significantly faster.
So
that being said, do we think this is better because it's more accessible? Everyone can access it.
I do. I think it's better in the fact that you don't need a third-party program for it.
Yeah, it's approved by them. It's given to anybody who plays the game, regardless of the client, regardless of third-party programs installed. And it's also the limiting factor of it is how good you are at clicking, which I think is a totally fair way to go about it. And I've seen like a lot of backlash on Twitter the day that the poll came out, which was yesterday. I woke up and there were just a shitload of tweets that were like, if you voted yes to this, kill yourself. And it's like, why though?
Yeah, so many salty people.
Yeah, it's like, why are you so upset about this? Like, you can use it too. I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
understand.
It's a big change. It's a big departure from what we did before.
And
that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does make the game a lot easier in certain aspects.
It's like people are like, oh, we might as well just make another old school because we're almost at RS3 again. It's like, no, we're fucking not. Don't be ridiculous.
No, we're not. I think anytime somebody invokes the banner of RS3, it's like, well, I mean, RS3, the things people didn't like about RS3 is fundamentally change the combat system, microtransactions.
Yeah.
Kind of way different graphics. Way different, right? That's the stuff people didn't like. It's not that they didn't like that, we got nice things like shift click to drop.
Yeah, because in the RS3 engine, you can drag an item outside of your inventory and let go, and it'll drop.
You can bind dropping items to your action bar.
Or that, yeah. I never actually familiarized myself with the action bar, but yeah, you could do that too. And it's like I've heard people express that they want an easier way to drop stuff before, and now all of a sudden, now that we're getting it, they're just all pissed off. Because
at least we didn't get right click drop all. At least we didn't get that, right?
See,
I think this rolls back around to something we were talking about last night with the silent applause, and you really only hear backlash from the people that don't care about it, so they seem like the majority of people that are complaining, or like the majority of the community. Like there are a lot of people that are for this that are just not giving praise for it or not speaking their mind about it. They're the people that are excited for it, but they're not going to yell about it on Twitter. They're not going to shout it from the rooftops.
Yeah,
people that are pissed off, they will. So like overwhelmingly, and it's the people that don't care. That's why there's so many Twitter nerds and Reddit nerds about it.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, and that's how that's what we said about. Well, we were talking about Skyrim, right? The lock picking system in Skyrim. Me and Rob both thought it was weird that they changed the lock picking system from Oblivion, which was very good, to something that was way simplified in Skyrim. And we're like, why did that happen? Well, I guess it's because a lot of people complained about it, and nobody said it was good. No, it was quite good.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's a phenomenon that happens a lot in video games. It's not just a RuneScape thing. It's not just a RuneScape thing. It's when people have a problem with something, you're way more likely to go write a bad review. You're way more likely to go complain to the developers. You're way more likely to go call up the company and tell them that they suck eggs or whatever. Yeah, I mean that's just something that happens.
That's why I don't trust reviews online for anything. Like I think Yelp is an almost entirely useless service. I think that reading reviews for a restaurant before you go try it is a bad idea. It's going to taint your opinion of it before you even go, because most of the reviews are going to be negative because somebody who had a good experience isn't writing anything on that website.
Oh God, the worst part about like websites like Yelp and stuff like that is the owners will say, "Hey, we can take off some of these bad reviews if you pay us some money."
Oh my God.
God, they basically shake down businesses.
Your life is so pay to win. It's bullshit.
It is pay to win. As evidenced by prayer scrolls. No, we won't start that. We'll stay off prayer scrolls.
Nigel, are you upset about the prayer scrolls or something?
No, not at all, man.
Oh, okay.
Bible prayer scrolls is a great idea.
I believe you're telling the truth.
It's a Sarah Doman hat. It's swag as shit.
Snapback.
I got it signed by some people.
I signed it.
You sure did.
The signature from me.
Is it signed under the brim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what it's signed?
I was the first person to sign it, I think.
It looks like it's all like washed out and stuff.
It is, because like I grab it here to like put it on and adjust it and shit, and that's where the fucking signature is.
I was like, are those even signatures?
They're very smudged. No.
Scuffed signatures.
Yeah. I'm gonna get an Arma hat for TwitchCon, and it's gonna get properly signed and never worn.
All right. So basically, we all kind of agree that shift click to drop is a pretty big change, pretty big departure from what we've done previously, but it's probably the right answer because everyone can use it, everyone can access it equally, and the only differentiating factor is how fast you can click. Yeah, that's basically how I feel about it. I do want people to know though that it is a big change. Like I think there's some people that are kind of like, well, it just means it's easier to drop things. No, it's a very big change. It's gonna change the game for a long time, I think, in terms of like skilling methods and so forth. All right, so what was the next thing? Tithe farm, the option to block weeds from growing in your farming patches will cost you 50 points once unlocked. You're able to toggle it on and off.
I took the poll on my stream today, and when I saw that one, I was like, that's actually a really nice change because again, no downside, simple thing, but it can be really frustrating. And I don't even do farm runs that often, but it just always seems like your luck is just bad enough that on the tick that you remove whatever's in the allotment or whatever, the weeds grow back. And then usually you're not prepared for it because you're like, I'm going to do it fast. And then there's weeds there. Then you have to go back to the leprechaun and grab a rake. And having that never happen for a pretty reasonable number of points at Tithe Farm, that's an amazing change, I think. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah. I don't even know how long it takes to get 50 points from Tithe Farm. Have either of you done Tithe Farm?
I finished up 99 farming at Tithe Farm, but it's been a while, and
I did it early on.
It takes longer to get points than you'd think, but it's really not that bad. 50 is not that many points, I don't think. That's definitely worth the time, I'd say.
All right, well, I mean, it's good to get the perspective on somebody who's actually done Tithe farming, because I should go do it for the seed box, but I just haven't bothered.
Yeah, I haven't been
seed
back,
box is only useful for like 2 things in this game. Unfortunate, but it's good that Tithe farming is going to be a little more useful. Should there be Chase will like this one? Should there be a left click option on blast mine for putting dynamite into alcoves?
I voted yes for that because I'm the type of player that you want in the community. Like, I'm done with blast mining forever, but I still want it to be easier for people who are going into it now. So I said yes because that's a really good change. Because it's not like it's super click intensive, especially when you compare it to like doing the quarry or whatever. But there's a lot of clicking involved because you have to chisel out every single spot, and then previously you'd have to use the dynamite with the alcove and then light it.
You'd have to click your inventory and then click use.
That just removes one click for each pot of dynamite that you use, and that actually adds up a lot. It just makes it a bit more relaxing. So I voted yes to that. That's a good change too.
Yeah, I mean, especially since there's a lot more dynamite being brought into the game.
That's true.
There's a lot of dynamite being brought into the game from raids. So I think a lot more people are going to start looking to see if what blast mining is all about, and if we do this change, I think a lot more people will use it. Because currently, I think a lot of people see, well, I could do granite, or I could do gem rocks, or I could do mother lode mine, and I don't even think blast mining even crosses most people's mind. Even though it's really good.
What's the XP rate on gem rocks? I never tried that.
It's around 60k an hour is what I was getting.
That's not bad.
When I was working towards 80 something.
What kind of profit do you get from that, do you think?
I don't know what profit you get, but I do know if you go from 80 to 99, you get like 4 million crafting XP.
Holy shit.
If you cut all the gems.
So I guess it depends on if you're an Iron Man or not, or what you're really going for, what other skills you still need to work on.
I think for Iron Man, it's definitely the meta.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really guesstimate profit at the moment anyway, because of the new silver jewelry changes.
True.
So opal and jade and shit, they're going to be fluctuating in price. But overall, uncut gems are really expensive because cutting gems is a super fast crafting method. It's just super expensive.
True. I think
so you'll make a lot of money with it.
That's fair. Like
Yep.
I think I made 65 mil profit at Blast Mine. So I mean, if they're on the same level, though, I could definitely see that people wouldn't consider Blast Mine because not only is it a lesser used method, you also have to get favor before you can use it, and people hate getting favor on Zaya from what I've seen.
Lova King favor is one of the worst ones to get. Too.
It's one of the easiest
I'd
too,
say
though.
Lova
did,
King and really is the most annoying, I think.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But all I did was mine sulfur the whole time. It's not like it's not fun at all, but it wasn't hard at all either.
No, yeah, it's not fun.
I made dynamite.
Don't you guys just wish they put quests on there? Like,
Yes,
why
actually, I
didn't
do.
we just do a quest for each house?
Yeah, like a mini
Yeah.
quest, sub quest.
Why didn't we just do a quest for each house? That would have been great.
RFD 2.0 sub quests.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have been down for that.
Yeah. It's something I've always wondered for like a long time. It's like, why don't we have more quests? And I get that the devs say, oh, well, it takes a long time to develop. It's content people only do once. Yada, yada, yada.
They say that it takes a long time to develop, but they cranked Monkey Madness 2 out, and it was really good.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
I feel like if they're inspired to do a quest, they could easily get it out to us in like a few weeks, a couple weeks. If it's
I
not
don't know, maybe-
like not even a Grandmaster.
Maybe at some point we'll have enough old school developers where they feel like they can put out quality quests regularly. Because currently
team
we
has
get like
expanded a lot.
one or two quests a year.
Yeah.
That's currently what we're getting.
iTies says, why is Zaya so fucking huge? Good question.
As it is.
Yeah, because we like to see you have to walk a lot. Like I'm literally maxed. I have every teleport known to RS players. It's still too big. Trying to find
how
out
many
where the hot or cold
unknown to
location
RS
is.
players?
What's that?
Do you have any teleports unknown to RS players?
I don't really want to get banned, so let's just move on. Are you familiar with pafting? You guys ever watch the old Silent Core videos?
Oh, I watched those.
I actually really loved his RuneScape Underground series where he'd show how people used to do glitches. Those are actually really fascinating to me. But yeah, even with all the teleports, like trying to find the location on Zaya where the hot or cold clue is for Master Steps is just terrible. The
Yeah.
continent is too big.
The very first thing I always do when I get a hot or cold, I'm like, all right, it's on Zaya. Oh, thank you. It's not on Zaya. It's always the first thing I check. Any more input from you, Rob, or you want to just move on to the next one?
What were we even talking about?
Yeah.
Dynamite?
Dynamite.
Dynamite.
I've got like 1,600 dynamite in the bank with no intention on ever using it, I don't think, because Gem Rock
Yeah, I'm
is
pretty
a
much
better option.
the same. I've got all this dynamite and I'm just never going to use it. Thanks,
Yeah.
Raids.
Lizardman Fang too. We talked about that in our dry round. The Lizardman
Oh,
Fang.
yeah, we
yeah.
did. Lizardman
From the
Lizardman
raids.
Fangs. You just get tons of them from raids and there's
Useless.
there's nothing you can fucking do with them.
Useless.
Not a thing. I mean, like, has anyone ever ran out of teleports in their Karen, like, teleport amulet thing? Who has ever ran out of teleports in that thing?
It holds 1,000. You
Yeah.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
Well, I actually came close because I was still running off of fangs that I got from doing the favor ages ago, and I was actually nearing the end of those when raids came out, and now I have like 2,000 charges worth. So, I mean, and I did the favor right when things came out, so the fangs lasted me from when I did Lizardman to begin with until now. So,
Zaya's
think
not
anybody-
complete though, T-God.
Yeah.
yeah, they're still
We've
planning on
still
expanding
got
it.
2 more additions. to
Yeah.
Zaya.
I forgot about that
Yeah,
actually.
2 more additions. See, what I think is going to happen with Zaya is I think we're going to get these additions, and then when Zaya's done, they're going to wrap it up with a bunch of quests and Zaya diaries. I guess what's going to happen.
That'd be cool.
And then
I'd
it's
like
going to
that.
be
Yeah, me too.
done.
Yeah, I actually forgot about the
Put a-
extra
put a nice little
expansions
bow on it.
because there was the they did the
The
change to how
volcano
it's
with
laid
the
out.
Slayer Master.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because it's mostly skilling. Then they added raids, but they're gonna do more with combat, I assume. at
Yeah,
some
they're
point.
they're supposed to offer the volcano and the Slayer Master
right.
with the special fucking taco people.
Did you just say taco?
What did you just
people?
say?
Taco, the currency, whatever it is.
Oh.
Taco. Oh my god! I thought you said taco people. I'm like,
We can
I
go
was
with
like,
that too.
I was like, isn't that the reason we're building a wall?
Okay, you made it racist.
You said taco people. You're not
Chase
supposed to call them
just
that
said what
anyway.
we were all thinking. You said taco people.
Yeah, you did.
God damn it.
You, you know,
Chat agrees. They all say taco people.
I love the taco
I agree
people.
because memes.
Their food is amazing.
Dude, they are.
If I don't see the taco people meme in Rob's stream every time I'm there, taco people. What do we call the Canadians? Snow taco people?
Snow cones. Snow cone people.
Snow cone
No?
people.
Okay.
No,
Rob's like,
No.
nah.
doesn't land
No.
the same.
Well, I don't think there is
Okay.
an equivalent, really.
No.
Back to RS.
Curling.
Here's
what's the-
another big one.
Poutine.
Here's another one I saw people really butthurt about on Twitter.
America Light.
Should we add keyboard shortcuts to furniture creation for player-owned house hotspots?
I think I abstained from that one.
I voted yes.
I voted yes.
Because it's going to be fucking broken.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be busted XP. It's gonna be stupidly fast,
It's like,
right?
yeah, it's like we know we're taking away AHK, but we'd still like construction to be pretty fast. That's pretty much what they're saying.
Yeah, because previously they said they wouldn't even consider this, but now they're pulling it. Because in the past, people said like, "Hey, why can't we just get keyboard shortcuts for the hotspots?"
Yeah.
And they said no, we won't pull that. Here it is. We got it.
I mean, they also said we would never get Dragon Claws. So, like,
That's true.
anything's on the table.
Yeah, the
I-
problem with that is they heard it like a million times a week. Every Q&A they'd be like, okay, we've got 4 more questions about declaws, so they stopped addressing it. They didn't say never. They basically said eventually if the community wants it. But it is kind of interesting how involved they are with the community, but how sometimes, like actually pretty frequently, their opinion or their stance on things seems to change, and we're never really told why. What the tipping point is. Like, it just kind of changes, and they never explain their reasoning. It just is like, all of a sudden, here you go.
You think internally they're just like, yeah, we'll get the EOC like 2 years from now. Don't worry.
God, I hope not. Actually, I saw something really funny posted that said, guys, make sure you're making a copy of the server state from right now so that 10 years from now we can make old school over again.
Old school RuneScape.
Yeah, old school.
Oldest school RuneScape is what we'll call it. No, wait, RS Classic exists. We can't call it that. Let's call
RS
it old
Classic
school.
2.
Classic V2. But this question kind of brings about something which I think is a valid complaint. I saw somebody complaining about this on Twitter. I don't remember who it was, but they said skilling quality of life more like, let's just buff all the skilling methods in the game. Kind of correct.
That's basically what this poll did.
This stuff is not really quality of life. This is kind of like, hey, would you like skilling to be easier or faster? And everyone's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's kind of weird because
exactly
like
what
a year and a
this
half ago they would have been like, "Don't you fucking touch my skilling methods! It's
Don't
not
touch
old
my
school
skills."
if you do." Yeah, hands off my skills, government.
I think it's because a lot more players are thinking about maxing, and I think
That's fair.
Jagex just wants to make maxing accessible. I think that's part of it.
It devalues
it's
my
a good
max
thing.
cape.
No, devalues my 3-tech XP.
God, 3 ticking.
I do 3-ticking, but
I know.
I find it enjoyable.
I like tick manipulation hunter, and that's it.
The only one I won't do is 3-tick mining. No,
That was the worst. That was definitely the worst.
Mm-mm. It's the hardest by far.
Yeah, agreed.
Definitely the hardest. But yeah, no, it's like this change makes construction a lot more accessible to people not using mouse keys. Are they eventually just saying like, look, players were able to achieve these XP rates playing really fast with third-party software? Let's just make these XP rates available to everyone.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to remedy the XP rates without giving a third-party program, or allowing one rather, that can be used for botting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's like a good thing. They broke it, but now they're trying to remedy it.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody who doesn't have 99 construction, I was just like, yeah, fine, sure.
I'm completely okay with it.
I think it's kind of bad that we like vote in our own self-interest like that. But at the same time, how else are you supposed to vote?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't
Can
affect me.
you reasonably ask players to go like, all right, you have to pretend you're a game developer, put your game developer hat on, and go, all right, what's best for the game? Right?
They're like,
It's
no.
really hard to ask players to do that because players are only going to be concerned about what affects them.
They're like, I ain't got time for that. I got to go back to ragging with a crystal bow.
Yeah, as I always jokingly tell Ashton when she's telling me a long story or something like that, I'm saying, okay, but what does this mean for me, the consumer? Because at the end of the day, like that's what people care about. It's like, okay, but how does this affect me? What does this mean for me? Is what people see when they look at the polls in game, and that's how they're gonna vote. And that's why it's Jagex's job to be really sure they want to put these things on polls, which is why the poll makes me want to put my brains all over the floor. But
yeah.
we won't go into that one.
That was a
We
mess.
had a big discussion about that.
Yeah, we can leave that alone, I think.
We can leave that one alone.
Forever.
Or Bible prayer scrolls. We won't get into that either.
Like things that just make me mad.
Yeah, things that make me irrationally upset and rant for 2 hours.
Age
I mean, it's
fluid.
not even that
Age
irrational. No, those are definitely rational mad things. I think all three of these things.
Age fluid, definitely rational. I can see it.
Oh man, Newfie says he's going to Taco
Rob's
Bell.
just like, trying to keep it in. He's like,
I am, man.
strong
Doing some
in front of
breathing
the audience.
exercises here.
You wouldn't like Rob when he's mad.
that's Rob's secret. He's always mad.
I am.
He's an Iron Man. He has to be. He has all the
Yeah.
internalized oppression from being an Iron Man.
Yep.
It's true.
He's like that
It's true.
time
We're
I got
5% of the
crashed.
player base.
That time
We're
I
a
got
minority.
crashed 4 months
We will
ago.
rise up.
Is
We
this
will
what
take
taco
this game
people
back.
feel like?
I'm a taco people. I love tacos.
Who doesn't love tacos?
People who are wrong.
Yeah, people who don't love freedom.
I think it's 2 to 3, but we really don't care. You got it?
Yeah.
What was the question? Oh, the length of the podcast.
The length of the podcast.
Yeah, it's like we're probably gonna aim for 2+, but
Imagine this. This is how the podcast came about. We would always like end our streams, go into Discord, and just hang out for like 2 hours and just chat about whatever. So we basically were like, why don't we just make it a podcast?
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be pretty low key, pretty relaxed.
hey,
we're
Rob's
gonna take
favorite
our
word.
time. There's no set time. But we figure they'll always probably be like 2 hours.
Yeah, I love the trend that arose when Tom realized that Rob says low key all the time. Where every time we would raid Rob, it would be a low key raid.
Low key raid.
It hasn't
Can't let him
happened
know it's a
forever.
raid, but low key it's a raid.
I haven't really had a chance to raid you in a long time either, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to host Chase a bunch. I don't know
Yeah,
how
that's
much
true.
I've hosted you, Rob.
Just the time of your live is really make or break
Yeah, like
for hosting. So
I end before both of you, basically.
Feels bad, man. You probably catch some hosts from Tom and other people like that though.
Not often.
Yeah, I don't think I've got a Tom host in a while. I got a Monica host today though. Feels good, man.
yeah, I haven't had a host from either of them in ages, actually.
Yeah, I think they just stream a lot earlier.
Yeah,
now.
they do.
Because they stream like our time, but UK time.
They're usually still on when I start, but yeah, I think I've actually had a host from Rachel more recently than either of them.
Yeah, I think they're usually like kind of like wrapping it up like around when I go live.
That's fair.
So usually I get to watch them in the morning when I'm working on YouTube or something like that, which is cool because I love watching Tom streams.
God, imagine not sleeping until 5 minutes before you go live. That must be nice.
Rob's like waking up.
yeah.
He's just like, oh, I need my coffee.
I've been doing a horrible job hitting my start time, but I've been hitting my like amount of time to stream for per day goals usually, but I keep starting late.
Yeah, my start time, like it says my start time is 3 p.m. CST, and it's just like I've gotten to the point where it's like either I'm streaming like 2 hours before that start time, or like I'm going live at like 4:30 because I was doing something. It's bad to do that, but I always stream for a good length of time.
On the topic of schedules, I actually just decided today to switch my day off each week. My day off from now on is actually going to be today. On Fridays, the only thing I'm going to do is the podcasts from now on.
I was thinking of doing the same thing.
Yeah. Because
everyone's like, oh, Friday's off?
Because
Yeah,
Tom's not
it's
live
not
on
even-
Mondays anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm
that's
not
extra
even,
viewers.
I just always thought that Tuesday was a good day to take off, but then it's increasingly seemed like Friday is a good day to take off because of there's like lower Twitch activity on those days, and like I never paid too much attention to it, but then I became friends with I'm Marksman, who has 250,000 followers on Twitch, and told me take Fridays off. So I was like, okay, I'll start like monitoring the numbers, and I think he's right. And even if I wasn't gonna do that next week, it makes sense to anyway. Because, and here's a plug, 18th of this month, I'm doing my first ever charity stream, right? And the day before, we're doing a podcast, and I don't want to be exhausted going into that Saturday. So either way, I would have done it. And I was just like, fuck it, I'll just take Fridays off from now on. It kind of makes sense.
Official RFT podcast is just everyone takes off on Fridays. No streams on Fridays, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't move my day off from Sunday, even though I think I'd like to, just because my only chance I get to do anything with like Ashton or with my family or whatever is during the weekend because Ashton's working during the week. So I kind of can't move it, or else I probably would move it to Friday. But yeah, I think it's a good idea. You guys are getting you guys are growing up, getting real serious about the video accounts. Okay, so back to RuneScape, right? Because we are a RuneScape podcast, I think.
Yes, we are. We're supposed to be.
Supposedly.
How about them gains, guys?
Oh, gains. You guys make gains?
I'm doing agility. Now. Oh, Rob.
You're not even logged in? What are you doing?
I'm not. I'm trying to like focus.
During our dry run, we're like, all three of us were like, we will absolutely be playing during the podcast. What happened to that?
Mm-hmm.
I fully intend to in the future. This is the first time we're doing anything like officially, man.
Do something
somebody crashed my world where I'm getting Mortmire fungus. I'm getting Mortmire fungus in game right now because nobody ever wants to watch me do that.
Yeah, man, I'm chillaxing.
But somebody just crashed me. Somebody took my world.
What a bastard.
What the hell? Who crashes at Mortmire fungus? Why?
That's I've never heard of that happening in my life. That's really weird.
No.
I'm just saying agility.
Bot, actually. I'm pretty sure he's a bot.
Probably.
Here's some gains for you.
Wow.
What is it?
Tasset's 4KC. Breeze, we're not friends anymore.
Breeze, I don't know you, but we were never friends.
Speaking of God Wars Dungeon gains, 835 kill count at Sir Doman.
Damn.
No hilt in sight. No hilt in sight.
Thank you for the sellout there, Shane. Appreciate it, bud.
Sun's been having some really good luck at
Sun finished his hilt set.
Mm-hmm.
Did he?
At 70 armor KC, I think, like 70 something. 70.
Yeah, it was 70 something.
Yeah.
Can we not get that hashtag going, guys?
The first item he got was the armor helm. Get the armor helm.
I don't approve of that hashtag for the record. Let's not.
He's got the Bodhi auto host. Thank you very much for the auto host, Adam.
Oh wow.
Dude, Adam's been auto hosting the ever living fuck out of me lately. And I just want to say thank you so much for that. I appreciate it greatly.
I noticed you fucking broke 7K followers. Congrats on that, by the way.
Yes,
that's awesome.
I did. Also broke 3K subscribers on the YouTube.
Yeah, I saw your tweet about that. That's awesome.
Yep. Shane will get the sell out in the chat, I'm sure. Gains.
Fuck yeah.
So I'm currently I tried to world hop and I think a ghast attacked me and I think Conduit's just like locked up now. So cool. Great.
Scuffed client.
Great. It is a scuffed client sometimes.
I've actually
noticed that Conduit
in a long time.
They added emojis.
Yes.
To Conduit.
Yes, I did notice that.
How does this make you feel, guys?
The first thing I did that day was turn them off. First thing I did.
That's the first thing I did.
Oh, somebody,
and then, I think it was Finlug. Finlug tried to send me like 100.
Yeah, me
like,
too.
He tried to send me like all like the fire emojis and stuff.
He did the same thing to me.
And they were all off, and he was like, "Wow, I feel bad now."
So the first thing I did was turn them off, and the second thing I did was like take it upon myself to make a rule that they're not allowed in our clan chat.
Yeah.
And then Fonz backed me up on that. We were like, yeah, no, these are not allowed anymore. Just like the fucking exclamation mark price or kill count commands. These are not allowed. Like, that was the first thing we did. And I stand by it.
Putting down the hammer. No emojis.
And you know what the best part is? As soon as I said, don't do this anymore, guess who? Somebody did it because there's always that one meme lord. I kicked him.
Jesus.
I was like, no, I mean it.
I was like, so how many emojis did Rob put in the chat? But
none.
No,
he was on our side. We did not want that shit.
Emojis, dude.
I tolerate them in the Twitch chat. That's where I draw the line. I don't want them in my fucking game. There's no reason.
I don't like them in game, and I don't like them when I'm texting.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like when people send you like 30 fire emojis and the 100 emoji?
No, you look like a fucking child.
Sometimes my dad spams me with emojis, but he knows he's doing it because it annoys me.
Your dad's a cool dude.
He is. He really is. All right, so RuneScape.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to the poll. The servant's money bag in your house. You can put a bunch of money in it.
I like that.
You don't have to pay your servant.
Yep.
He doesn't have to be like, yo, give me 10K, dog. He can just take it from the bag. Stop being a lazy fuck and get it himself. I think that's good. I don't know why we didn't have it before, but that one's actually quality of life, and I think it's great. Just don't know why we didn't have it before. Let's see, what else is there? Should we change the veins in the upper area of the Motherlode mine so they deplete a random amount of time after a player begins mining them? This would mean that multiple players can mine a vein simultaneously and will no longer deplete any faster. So previously, like how ore veins worked was every time you would mine it, and it's the same way it works with trees too, actually. Is every time you would get an ore, it would basically like roll a dice and say, is the vein depleted, right? So instead of using that, they're going to go to a time-based solution. So when the ore vein spawns, it'll give it a random amount of time, and the ore vein will disappear.
Yep.
Instead of you having to mine it. I think it's a good change.
There's no reason. Again, there's not really any reason to not have that. It seems like a slight improvement. You could still get shafted on the luck. Like it could still deplete very quickly, but I think overall it'd be just better.
I think this brings up an interesting point, which is that, oh man, I always heard people say this for stuff in game, especially people when it comes to like monsters, like bosses and PVM and stuff like that. People say, well, like competition's part of an MMO, like you just have to compete for resources, right? Do you think it's kind of funny that everyone thinks like this is a good change and everyone wants it? Because we're essentially saying, yeah, fuck competition, fuck that, that's lame. We want to just get our ores.
You know what's... I guess that is an interesting question. It's one that I haven't really thought too extensively about, but one of the things I liked about RuneScape since I started playing it like almost 12 years ago now is just that it's different from other MMOs. And but in this regard, I don't think that it necessarily has to remain different from other MMOs. Like I never got into too many other MMOs in my life, but I always heard a big complaint like this resource is always camped. There's literally no way to get it if you're a new player. And I think it's better to make it a bit nicer to camp for supplies than it is to say, welcome to the game, that's the way MMOs are, fuck you.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an old way of thinking, because we talked about this the other night, which is every game's built on its single player experience. Whether it's a multiplayer game or a mostly single player focused game, how much you like the game and how much you think about the game is usually dictated by when you sit down at your desk or on your couch or whatever, you turn on the game and you're just sitting there, you playing the game, right? Because you may not always be playing with friends, even if the game, like has raids or dungeoneering or some group activity, right? You may not always be doing the group activity. You're probably going to spend a lot of the time doing the single player stuff in the game, right? So every game is judged on what it's like when you sit down by yourself and play the game. So stuff like that is kind of feel bad, right? It makes the game not as fun for some people. I don't necessarily think that we should cater to it because, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like a slippery slope. Like, where do you draw the line? But some amount of stuff like this in the game, I think it's fine because there are going to be places that are just, there's a lot of people doing it. You can't find enough worlds. Like DKs. The DKs change. We all agreed DKs was a great change, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, we wouldn't necessarily want that for God Wars Dungeon, would we? Or in the future, do we? I don't know. It's an interesting discussion.
Yeah, kind of a whole different tangent there, though. I feel like the ore change update is a good one because it very much does not cross the line of what we think is too much in terms of catering.
Yeah.
So it's a it's a very small change.
Yeah, I think it's a small change, but I think in the future people are probably going to ask for instance God Wars Dungeon rooms and stuff like that. That's
Probably.
a whole different discussion, though.
At some point.
That's a whole different discussion.
Jay Crane in the chat is asking what the DK's change is. They're actually adding a separate set of DK's rooms for people who are on a Dagonoth's task. That is, It's a question that's currently being polled, but it is currently passing by a lot, actually.
No, that was last week's poll.
Was
that
it?
Passed.
Never mind, I'm wrong.
Yeah. Yep, that passed.
Okay, that's definitely coming into the game then.
We get a Slayer only DK's room.
There you go.
Which is pretty good, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So onward.
Yes.
Should we add a heads-up display to Motherlode Mine that displays how full the pay dirt sack is?
Clients already do this, so there's no reason to vote against it.
That's a fair point. I didn't even think of that. I just voted yes because I thought it was a good thing to have. So.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's a good thing to have, but
Yeah.
Rob brings up an even better point, which is it's already in clients. I'm all for RuneScape, like the official client, getting a lot of stuff that third-party clients currently have. Just because, I mean, the less reason there is for people to use third-party clients, the closer we get to Jagex eventually just bringing down the hammer like they did with AHK. Which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, so long as they're going to maintain their client, make a good client. Until then, I'm using Conduit. How about you?
We got a J-mod in the stream.
Hello, Wolf.
Yeah, how's it going, Wolf? Welcome.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep using Conduit myself. I think that again, it's a matter of crossing the line. I think certain plugins in the past, for one of the clients, unnamed of course, was a bit too much in my opinion, and I wouldn't have been surprised if they had kind of come down on it at some point. But I think that the client developers need to keep in mind that they've never been endorsed by Jagex, so they need to watch themselves if they want to stay in business.
Yeah. Or else Jamflex might swing the hammer. Band hammer. Right. So we all think the heads-up display is common sense.
Yep.
Should be there. Should it be possible to pay 200 nuggets in multi-load mine to double the capacity of the paydirt sack?
Yes.
So currently it holds.
really like it.
Yes.
Currently holds like what, 75 ores? 100 ores?
It's like it's like give or
126.
take 4 inventories worth, isn't it?
Yeah. 126. There you go.
Yeah.
That amount.
Yeah.
So doubling it to 250, basically 252, right? 252. I can do math, right?
256.
Right. We think that's good.
Yeah,
Yes.
I really like the change. It's going to make
I think
it
it's
a
a
bit
great
more
change,
AFK.
and I've been done with mining for a long time. I don't really have much use for the nuggets. Like I think I ended up buying the gem bags just to see what buying that was like for my videos. But I definitely have leftover nuggets that I would like to put towards something useful, and that's definitely a good change.
Sweet, Chase. You're saying you got mad nugs? Is that what I'm saying?
I don't know how to respond to that.
This is a family-friendly stream.
No, correction. When you go into my stream, it says this is intended for mature audience.
True. Mine does that too.
Mine does that too. Mm-hmm.
What is the spinny thingy in my hand? It's like they're pretty popular, like fidget spinners. Like it's kind of just something you play around with that keeps your hands busy. But my mom's husband actually made this. He has a 3D printer, and he basically
cool.
just like printed out the plastic bit of it, and he threw in some skateboard bearings into it, and it gives it balance, and you just spin it around.
Keep
Actually,
your
you
hands
wouldn't
busy.
believe how much in just like in industry, how much people use skateboard bearings for like everything. There's all sorts of probably like appliances and stuff you have in your house that have skateboard bearings in it, or roller skate bearings for rollerblades and stuff like that.
That's what I was thinking, Tox.
Really common.
I mean, we did just cover that it's a stream intended for mature audiences. You could just masturbate while we sit here, right?
What's
Keep
the
your hands-
name again? I'm sorry.
Rob's just like, no.
Just type it in the chat.
No
Yeah,
jokes,
well,
Chase.
No fun. No memes. We already banned emojis. We're coming to the memes next. Okay, so on to the next one, which is the rune crafting skill cape. So they talked about this in the Q&A, which if you guys didn't watch the last Q&A, it's hilarious. They did it in a pub. They gave out the name of the pub, and they got ice Poseidoned.
Did they?
Meaning people were just calling up the pub, saying hilarious stuff.
Giving out the name wasn't a good idea.
Somebody called the pub, and the guy came over from the phone, and he's like, "They wanted to call and tell you Emily is coming." And he came back a couple minutes later, and he said, somebody wanted me to let you know CX.
Wow.
It's great. So they cut the stream short by 30 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like I saw it when I woke up.
Reason.
I tried watching it and it was already done. I was like, what?
Yeah, it was only 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's great. So they mentioned in the Q&A that they would like to go over the skill cape perks again, because they get a lot of requests for skill cape perks, right? And they were mentioning the herbler skill cape. They were like, they saw a really good suggestion that you could use grimy herbs to make potions with, so you didn't have to identify them, which I think is kind of interesting. It's better than the current herbler skill cape perk, which is totally useless. What does it
even do?
It lets you get
It gives
pestle
you
and
a
mortar,
pestle
right?
and mortar.
Yeah.
That's it?
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it does.
Okay.
That's all it does. So
I don't know if you want to have a killer drop party. It's pretty good.
yeah, drop all the pestle mortars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they're polling a change to the runecrafting steel cape, which is, should Essen pouches be protected from degrading? This would be in addition to the regular runecrafting perk, which I have no idea what it is. Does anyone know what the current runecrafting skill cape perk is? Chase, you're maxed.
I don't know.
Okay, it's
I don't know
useless.
what it
That's
is.
good to know.
Yeah.
Totally worthless.
I forget.
Let's put it this way, Chase. If you were gonna runecraft, would you runecraft with your runecrafting or max cape?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Well, the max cape especially, because it acts as a graceful
Yep,
cape
it
too,
does.
doesn't it? Yeah. So that's really good. It's all talismans. Thank you, chat. Access all talismans.
Ah, right, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I absolutely support the change to the runecrafting cape perk. I think that if you've gone through the trouble of getting 99 runecrafting and you want to keep runecrafting past that, you're fully entitled to not having to deal with repairing your pouches every X runs. It's not a huge change, it's just very nice.
Yeah, I think it's really good. You just no longer have to repair your pouches. Pretty good change. All right, so here's one that I don't necessarily agree with, but it's passing, which is, should players with 99 agility pass all Brimhaven agility arena obstacles without a chance of failing? Now, I disagree with this, but probably not for the reason you think. So we'll hear from these guys first.
I voted yes because Shane told me to. And as someone who has gotten 99 agility 3 separate times,
Peer pressure,
I trust
dude.
his vote.
Yeah, Shane probably knows what he's talking
Yeah, he's
about.
got 99 agility a lot. I also have 99 agility, of course, and I voted yes to it because I think it's a similar deal. If you've gone through the trouble of getting 99 agility and you decide for whatever reason, whether it's for good XP or for the dark blue graceful color, and you want to do the Brimhaven course, I think that you've earned the right to not fail on that, because that course is a pain already. And if you already have 99 agility, then you kind of deserve to not have to deal with that crap. So what is your reason for disagreeing with it, Nigel?
My reason for disagreeing with it is I actually saw Autumn Elegy. He made a comment about it, which is he doesn't, and this is like something I would say. So him saying this, I was like, oh yeah, way to go, Aubrey. He said this change doesn't really make sense because it only benefits a very small amount of players. It would have made more sense if they rescaled it so that it scaled from level 1 to 99. At 99, you have 100% success, but at level 1, it scales up to level 99.
That does
right?
that makes
and
sense.
I agree. That's a much better change because it still achieves the same effect that we're getting here, but it also slightly buffs the Brimhaven agility course for everyone, unless you're lower level and it doesn't really change anything.
That is a better change. I agree.
Which I think is a much better change. So I'm okay if this one doesn't pass, because I mean it would just benefit a very small amount of players if it did pass.
True.
I voted yes. But I thought it was kind of that was kind of silly that they missed out on that.
So it's like you're not okay. It's not like that you're not okay with the change. It's that you think it could be better.
Yeah, it could be better. They could do a better job with it. So I think it's good if it passes, but I hope they are open to making some changes to it.
Yeah, no, Cryptet, it wouldn't make the scaling change inherently just by voting no, but if it didn't pass, they could revisit it and then improve on their idea.
Yeah. So I mean, it's up to you whether you think they would be willing to change it if it did pass, or if they might take another look at it if it didn't pass. It might just be one of those things where it's so minor that like if it doesn't pass, they just never think of it ever again. Because there's lots of
guess
slips through the cracks.
For content like the Brimhaven Agility Dungeon, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Old, abused, broken content that just nobody uses, nobody loves. The regular agility courses. Does anyone use the Barbarian Agility course for anything now?
No.
Other than that one clue step?
I don't think so.
You need it for?
I do remember training on that back in the day, though. It was horrible.
Yeah. Oh man, back in the day, before rooftops, nostalgia time. Remember the good old days when you did 1 to 35 at the Gnome course, and then you did 35 to 52 at the Barbarian course, and then you did 52 to like whatever level Brimhaven was useful. The good old days
Wilderness
of 99.
course.
Yeah,
that was horrible.
Yeah, it was terrible. Rooftops is probably one of the best additions to the game ever.
I'm doing rooftops right now.
I'm doing more fungus.
Rob
Rob is doing fuck all because it's XP waste.
Rob, I'd forgive the fact that you're not getting gains right now if you were talking more.
Ooh.
Well, I tried talking earlier and I ended up interrupting you, so I'm trying to like not cancel the memes out again.
Go.
Or wait for my turn.
Okay, I'm done talking. Say a thing.
I am never going to get 99 agility. This update doesn't affect me whatsoever. I don't care.
Okay.
Cool.
We're just giving you a hard time for being characteristically quiet. It's fine.
I'm a pretty quiet guy for the most part.
Rob is a quiet guy. It was like this on the KOA podcast too. Just because Rob doesn't want to say anything if Rob doesn't have anything to say.
Fidget with the RS account, Rob.
His little like fidget spinner thing. We're getting so many questions in the chat. Like, what the fuck is that Rob has?
They're like, your podcast is dog shit, but that thing, we want that.
Also, Rob is a slide ship.
I am. I don't know why.
It was fine a bit ago. It just
It was
everything.
perfect, but like
Yeah.
it's just out of nowhere. My connection's being shit.
Yeah. We don't know why. It's only Rob's source for me. I don't know why it does it. But
I'm gonna speed test.
ooh, that'll make it better.
Fortunately, Rob
Won't
doesn't do the YouTube stuff so much, so I think that if one of us was going to lag, I think it's better that it's his, because instead of me uploading to my YouTube channel and lagging the whole time, or Nigel uploading to his, it's the person who's not uploading it at all. But it still is a shame that it's happening.
My download speed is broken 800, and it's still climbing.
Broken.
We're over 800.
Oh, okay. I see. I was like, it's broken
That's
and
not
it's
nearly as good
800.
as 9,000.
That's not. Doesn't sound broken to me.
It
It's
is
over
868.
Upload.
Upload.
5.
We went over 5. We're still climbing.
That's like some Comcast tier internet. Like, all right, you got 800 down and 2 up.
That's
Like,
no, that's
what?
what it is for mine too. If I were to take the next step up, I would go from 30 down to 100, but then the up stays at 5.
Yep.
My upload is 578.
So there's no reason you should lag ever. Basically, is what we're hearing.
No, it's Skype.
Yeah, it's
Love
just
Skype.
something with Skype.
Skype's beautiful.
Love Skype. Talk says, what do you think of them coming with content to revitalize tracking that they've added the Ring of Pursuit for no apparent reason? I think, does anyone actually do
Tracking
that?
for
And
Hunter?
how would we? Yeah.
No.
How would we
Nobody does
actually
that.
make that? How would we actually make that so people could do it? Why?
What do you get from hunting?
What could we possibly offer them
like
that
what?
would make it worth doing?
So
What
if
do
you just get
actually
whatever.
track? What animals?
It's like if you do a pitfall, right? You get the bones and the skin or whatever. It's probably you just get the same thing
Yeah.
from that, but like nothing useful.
But like what? What do you hunt? Are they like chemics?
There's so much
I
wrong
don't
with
know.
hunting as a skill.
Yeah,
There's so much wrong with it.
Get a barbtail harpoon comes from pitfalls though.
it does. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they
tracking.
talked about new food that you could get from hunting. I think that would be a great change.
I'd be cool with that. New food.
Like
not?
new special kinds of food that give like multiple effects.
Jagex Wolf points out
Yeah.
there was some form of island coming to the game with fossils on it, possibly new hunting methods.
Possibly
I
new
hadn't
hunting.
thought of that.
Well,
Yeah,
you
but
should,
they
you
did
should
talk
tell
about
somebody
that
to
in
get
one
on
of the
that.
Q&As.
Yeah,
They did talk about that in one of the Q&As.
Link to the poll. I got you, buddy.
I did hear recently that Maz was trying to aggregate some ideas for Fossil Island.
Good old Maz.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. I think that's everything for this poll. They also gave out a survey whether people wanted. Oh God, what was it?
The make all.
It was
Oh, yeah,
make
yeah,
all,
that's true.
make all, and make X.
Mhm.
That's right. Most players said, "Yeah, why don't we just have make all?" Which I think makes sense, honestly.
Yeah.
Consistency. It's good long term for the game if everything's
That's true.
consistent.
That's
Everything
true.
makes sense.
It is.
Yeah,
it
people
is a
say
very
like, "Oh,
piecemeal
well, this
game.
is more old school." This is more old school. Well, there's a lot of really silly things old school did, like smithing. Smithing makes no sense as a skill.
If they want old school, then goodbye.
Don't even bring up
Maxscape.
smithing. Like you have ruined that skill for me.
I
now
ruined
that you've
smithing
actually
for
put it in my mind.
What?
It's the dumbest fucking skill in the game.
Smithing?
I'm sorry.
How so?
Think about it. You have to get 99 to make a rune plate body.
You get level 99. You get level 99 smithing to make level 40 armor.
Yeah. Wow, I never thought of that.
I didn't either until Nigel brought it up.
That's
Now it's
horrible.
horrible for me.
There's a reason RS3 changed smithing, or they're fundamentally changing mining and smithing, like overall, and they have to go back and change all the alch values of everything, right?
Mhm.
And all the XP values of everything. That's how fundamentally like messed up it is.
I did
And
not
it's
think
still
of that
not
at
fixed
all.
in RS3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never questioned
That's
it.
a good point.
I think
Wow.
actually a change like that is good for RuneScape, but it could never happen in old school because of the polling system.
Yeah.
Look at what's happened anytime we pulled anything big. Anytime we've pulled any like big skills, any big content additions, Jagex
Yeah.
has to be like super vague about it.
I really
Like
would have liked to
Zaya,
see
they were
Artisan.
basically like, do you guys want Zaya? And people were like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's in Zaya? They're like, no, don't worry about that. We want Zaya.
Like, you guys ask too many questions. Shush.
Like, shut up. Do you want Zaya or not?
Accept the new content.
Okay, well, no, they actually did tell us what was in Zaya, right? But it was all in a dev blog.
Yeah.
And when you voted on the question, it was literally just, do you want Zaya? And that's kind of the way this stuff has to be. Like, imagine if the old school team tried to pitch like, hey, we're going to fix smithing and mining because they're They just don't make any sense, right? Imagine if they tried to pitch that. There's no way they could get that through a poll. No way. Not happening ever. Right? So the polling system has some unique issues in old school. There's just some stuff that's always going to be the way it is.
The poll system issues are not going away apparently either because they polled changing them.
We polled changes to the poll system, which didn't pass because of the flawed poll system.
Yeah.
Or maybe those ideas are just unpopular. That could also be it too.
It seems
that
unlikely.
Entire idea to acknowledge that there is something wrong with your polling system and then decide to use that exact system to poll changes for that system, it gives me an aneurysm. It honestly does.
I think there was some common sense stuff on the polling poll that we should have just implemented. Like, it's common sense that you shouldn't be able to see the poll results before the poll is done.
Yep.
And kind of their halfway out of it argument was, well, third-party clients could track your results of your poll. Okay, well, I mean, you could probably make it so they can't do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they can.
They broke hit points once. They could break that.
Yeah, they broke hit points. They broke farming. They broke a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they broke farming. I'm pretty sure they could.
Is that why Conduit will sometimes be 18 hours off of my spirit tree growth?
Yes.
Yes. It guesstimates.
Well, that's also because here's a fun little thing about how farming works.
The farming ticks.
Okay, so when you have a farming patch and you pay for the patch, right? You pay for it, and your crop can't possibly die, right? The thing is, your crop, if it gets diseased while you're paid for it, they fix the disease for you, but it delays it one farming tick. So the new farming timers we have can't check that status. They just guess based on what the optimal time is for your crops to be done, right?
Okay.
So they're just keeping a timer, and they keep track of whether you log in, log out, farming ticks, that sort of thing. But they can't possibly know if your crop got diseased unless you go visit the patch.
Yeah.
Then it suddenly knows.
I just hate that because it's like, oh, all 4 of your spirit trees are done. And then I get there and it's like, oh, you still have to wait 18 and a half hours. And I'm just like, that's an unreasonable amount to be off by.
That's happened to me with Calquats before. Like, I go to a Calquat and it's like, hey, just kidding. You still got 4 hours. I'm like, okay, all right.
4 hours I understand, but like 18 hours, I'm just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's because of how like spaced out apart the farming ticks are for
spirit trees are the worst,
for stuff
of course,
like spirit trees
for lengths of time anyway. So it makes sense, but it's just infuriating sometimes.
Rob just putting 0 in the chat. Wow, it's harsh.
I'm really surprised at how many people are coming in with like these fucking sketchy links, man.
That's because of the Bodhi auto host entirely.
Yeah, it's just because that stuff just happens.
Their accounts made on that day to post a fucking weird ass link. And
that's why I have Nightbot set up.
Yeah, you get a lot of them every time.
Use Nightbots in your stream.
All right, this is something I want to talk about at some point, but like this is a good segue point because like this happened earlier to me. I was doing my elite clue before the stream. I was trying to rush it, and I had the KBD layer step, and I was in the middle of killing KBD. And this guy on Twitch, his name is Bruh, I'm Lit. He comes in and he posts like the very first thing he says: "Would you like to join my group to boost your channel views?" That is his first sentence in my channel ever, and then he throws in a link. Now, to me, that link is automatically just sketchy as shit.
Yes. So
I decided, without clicking on it, because I don't want to risk anything, I'm just going to give him a ban. Tell him, I don't do phishing links.
Yeah.
So it was actually a Twitch communities thing. Like, I don't know if you guys know what communities are. I didn't know until I had to Google it because the guy fucking PM'd me about it.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm going to read you exactly what he PM'd me after I banned him because I thought it was a phishing link. LMAO, you have autism, you fucking retard. It's a new group channel on Twitch, you fucking retard. It's a Twitch new update. Then he links the thing again. How is that a phishing link, you fucking retard? Hope your mom gets cancer, you fucking ugly cunt. Now, I clicked the link.
Or he could have just come into your channel and said, hey, there's this new thing called Twitch Communities. I made one for RuneScape. Why don't you check it out?
Yeah.
I didn't get to the best part. I opened up the community. They have a rules section. Rule number 1, be nice to each other.
You're kidding. You're kidding.
I'm completely serious.
Oh my god. Oh man.
That is the best thing I've ever heard.
So that's how my day went today. I had a good laugh about that.
Oh my god. What else can you do but laugh about that?
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Back to RuneScape stuff.
That's like talking about Fight Club. You're just ignoring rule number 1. What the fuck?
No regard for the rules, man. Kids these days, no respect.
He's probably
I don't even
12. So, I mean,
Oh, I'm sure.
with that
He
whisper,
probably
he's
is
got to
12.
be. Oh, man.
He's either 12 or plays League of Legends, one of the two.
Aren't the
Right,
two related?
so
I think both.
they are related.
Yeah.
They're very related. Trust me. Colorful gems and graphical improvements. That was the title of today's update.
Yes.
Or not today. Sorry, it's Friday.
Golems, not
Yesterday's
gems.
update. Oh, colorful. God damn it.
Close
I can
enough.
read, I swear. I don't have dyslexia. Recoloring the rock golems. So
Yes,
the rock golem pet has a bunch of colors now and they look really dope.
they do.
Autumn Elegy says he really likes the granite one because it reminds him of the good times. That's what he said. Good time.
He and I remember the good times differently, but you know what? You know what's actually okay. So I like the change. Obviously, it's better than having just one.
Yeah.
But I'm a little disappointed because somebody posted a suggestion for what they could look like. I think I probably saw it on Reddit at some point a couple months ago, and instead of them
I know
just
the one you're talking about.
instead of being recolored, they had chunks of the ore like sticking out of them, and it made them
Yeah,
look
they were
really
like-
cool.
It was like a rock, but it had like chunks of runite and stuff.
That
in it.
was
It was
sick.
really cool.
And when I heard that they were doing that, I was like, oh, cool, it's gonna be like that. But it was just like a straight recolor, which is not bad. It's obviously an
Yeah, it's
improvement
not
still,
bad.
but I was kind of like, that's not quite what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
I
have
don't
to
know
say,
if it's one of those things that's like maybe one thing you always have to consider with graphical stuff in RuneScape is like we're dealing with a really dated engine,
Mhm.
so some things just aren't possible.
That's true. That's true. I just got my hopes up, and I think blue red is my favorite one actually for the recolors.
Does it have a blue right option? It does.
The light blue is the blue red one.
Holy crap! Yeah, it does.
Looks awesome.
Wow. Yeah, the
one of
ores it
them-
has is tin, copper, iron, bluerite, silver, coal, gold, mithril, granite, addy, and runite.
Yep.
Pretty cool. You were saying something, Rob?
I don't know which one it is, but like one of the recolors, like the talk option to it, it sings that song "I'm blue, dabba dee dabba die."
Is that the blue right one? Because if so,
It's-
that's already
yeah.
it's like the best one squared.
I believe so.
If I get that pet,
Mhm.
when I get that pet, being optimistic, I'm gonna make it the blue right one.
Definitely.
Yeah, before I think the rock golem pet was one of the worst skilling pets to get,
Yeah,
but now I think it's one of the better ones.
it absolutely is
Honestly.
because like I
What do
already
you think
held
the worst one is?
Character model
Heron.
wise.
It's got to be Heron, right?
Well, Heron's the
worst
botting
skilling
pet, so
It's the worst skilling
Yeah.
pet. It's got to be Heron.
Where's
I gotta
the
agree.
skilling pet?
Wait for Rob's response.
In terms of just item model, like pre this update, I would say the mining pet.
yeah, it was before, but now it's like
Yeah.
it's like a pet that has a metamorphose option on crack. It's got so many different recolors. It's really cool now.
I'd have to say Heron at this point with this change.
The beaver is kind of boring looking too, though. I think.
Yeah, but it's a beaver.
But
What if they made
compared
the
to a
beaver the
Heron,
size of Rocky? What if beaver was as big as Rocky?
See, I like the heron
Huge
because
beaver.
I like the heron because there's only so
don't
many
Google
pets that
image by the
fly.
way, kids.
Yeah, don't do that.
Google image.
do you love huge beaver?
The heron pet's cool because it
Oh,
flies. I
furry
think
beaver.
so. I think that in my mind,
Yeah.
the beaver and the heron are equally not that great.
No, it's the budget armor pet. That's what it's in.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the budget armor pet. Budget for your
The budget meme is so good now. It's like everywhere.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Beaver's the best pet behind Zora. Well, you're just wrong.
So
How long did it take you to get your Zora pet? Wasn't it like 8,000 something, Casey?
You're not talking to me, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't nearly that bad. It was 37.34.
Okay. Who am I? I'm thinking of someone. Maybe
Nova
it's like
C.
8,000 to get a mutant
Nova
ninja.
C is 11,500 kills, no pet.
Oh my god, what?
He's about to hit the 3 times the drop rate mark.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's disturbing.
poor guy. And
How many times did Storage go over the drop pet from all the drop rate rather?
Oh,
He had like 22,500.
no. He had
No, it was-
20,067
Okay.
was the drop rate. So
I thought he hit 22k for some reason.
No.
But
a lot of times
that's
over.
a lot. It's 1 in 3,000, right?
That's 6.6.
Yeah,
times
1 in
over.
3.
Oh my god. That's so bad.
Mm-hmm.
He
I'm
hit
actually-
the 99 percentile, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah, he hit 99%.
he's the only one to do so, I think.
Yeah, he hit it to like 18,000.
I think
That's
I'm
disturbing.
actually about to hit 5k mole kill count pretty soon, probably like within a day or two.
Yeah, for my tacits, I got really close to 99%. I got to like 96 or 97% on tacits,
Mhm.
which was I think 99% on Tatsits is like close to 2,000, but that's still disturbing. It's just I hate when hearing people go that dry. It's just like, no,
Makes me feel bad.
that'll never happen to me.
But being the piece of shit that I am, I saw Novacy at the Crafting Guild Bank and took out my Zora pet next to him.
Oh,
But the thing is, the only reason I felt comfortable doing that is because so many people have done it to me. With every pet that I've been going for.
Who would ever come around and show you their pet?
I know. Who would while
do
they're
that?
still streaming, come to my mole world and call in a friend, and both of you come with your
not
mole
just
pets.
any friend. I got
You got the
Storgy.
mole guy to come, and
Me
two of
and
you.
Storgy and I, we both went
Yeah.
and crashed Chase while
Yep.
he was doing mole on stream.
Rude
While he
AF.
was still dry the pet.
Yep.
We took our pets and we danced. We danced with our pets.
And
And
Jack
we said very encouraging things to Chase. We were very nice to him.
Jack shot the mole a couple times with his twisted bow. Two wrongs don't make a right. Damn it, you're right. I apologize to
You're
Novacy right after. I actually do genuinely want him to get the pet. That makes me so sad for him. Because I was getting pretty salty after about a month camping it. He's got to be like 4 or 5 months deep now.
The fun part about RuneScape, not everyone gets to be lucky. Some people get to be extraordinarily unlucky.
And I've chosen a multi-year goal to get all the pets. So, I mean, I'm embracing the RNG bullshit.
Hi, Chase's girlfriend.
Hi, Kristen.
Hero. So another change that actually surprisingly people were salty about. Void got recolored.
Oh my god, I don't know.
Elite Void.
I love it. I like it. And it's like, even if you don't
You know
like the
something that
darkening of
triggers me
it,
about it?
really, you're not going to say the gloves, are you? No, Nigel, come on. Come
They're
on.
navy.
You're bandwagoning with ninja
Why?
shiz. I woke up and I saw that he had tweeted Ash, who was already the wrong JMod to tweet about a recolor. But he tweeted Ash saying the gloves are not the same color as the set. And I'm sitting there like half asleep like, who fucking cares?
I care.
Apparently, but like, unless I had seen it on Twitter, I never would have noticed. Who's playing so
noticed
zoomed
right
in that
away.
they want to see? Like, really?
Yeah.
I just don't think it matters that much. And it's not like they're pink. They
What's
still
really
blend
funny
fine.
is Gloves of Silence have the same model and they're the perfect color.
That's true. That's actually true.
It's actually kind of funny.
Aesthetics.
I like the update.
I think the
I didn't
darker
think
looks
it
good.
didn't get updated. I like the recolor. It's just the gloves trigger me now.
I know fashion
It
scape matters,
works.
Jason. I have black and white graceful. But I think that I mean, of course, if they change the gloves, it would be that much better. But I think that amount is not very much. Because
Nah.
the top and bottom do look way cooler now, in my opinion.
And when
They
it
do.
brings up a good point, people just need something to complain about. Yes,
That's
Yeah.
true.
that's why we're here.
So true.
But no, they match perfectly with the Ava's Max Cape and the Twisted Bow.
Yeah,
I
they
saw
look
two
really
guys
sexy.
dancing.
Hava's
with
Max
both of
Cape
those.
is a Max Cape that I
Gee.
never wear.
You'll wear it now. Matches your
Yeah.
elite void you
It'll look
finally
great.
got.
Yeah.
I watched
I
your
won't wear
video.
that.
You're like, yeah, I maxed, and it's disturbing. I don't have elite void.
Yeah, because I maxed. Well, eventually, everybody was like, doesn't have is max, doesn't have elite void, and I'm just like, hey, it took a long time to max. All right, I was busy, but I maxed in August, so eventually I was like, I have no excuse anymore. It's been
You're like, no,
it's been ages. Yeah. So that's what I finally did.
Still need to
I like
finish
it.
off my
I
helm.
like it.
Oh yeah, you do.
I think it's good.
Mm.
Which helm?
The melee. helm,
melee
right?
helm.
Yeah.
How far are you away from it?
Not far, like 100 points.
Oh, yeah.
Won't take long.
You should have went when they did for the community stream. They did pest control.
I thought about it because Katie was doing it, and she
Yeah.
got like 200 points in like 10 minutes. It's fucking retarded.
Really?
Not actually 10 minutes.
Okay,
but
I
it
was
was.
like,
Yeah,
that's
the,
gotta be-
the games were going super fast. There's
Yeah,
multiple
yeah.
games.
Yeah, they were
played
2
for,
minute
like-
games.
Yeah.
On Vet Boat, like she got it done quickly.
That's good.
So you just have to wait for the next community stream or next drunk stream.
I was told to do a drunk stream today. Fucking Ben Mommel came out of nowhere, gave me like $70.
Nice.
He's like, turn up. You're like, what?
Yeah.
You're like, bruh.
And here you are, fully sober. What are you doing?
I was supposed to fucking get drinks. Like I've got alcohol near me, but like I was supposed to go and like get actual stuff to mix with before the stream.
Mm.
But like my elite clue ran long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really
And I
long.
forgot about it.
I was supposed to grab. I still have 2 of my ciders left from our last drink stream. I was gonna drink those during the podcast, but I didn't get a chance to get up. Cause same thing. We both just ran right up on time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uncharged jewelry looks different now.
Yeah, I saw that.
As well as your scepter.
I thought it's not a bad change. Differentiate quickly. I did notice, actually, as I was ending my stream today, that the imbued Ring of Wealth looks horrible.
Does it?
Because my Ring of Wealth is imbued but not charged. And it just
it's
looks,
imbued but not charged.
It just looks awful because there's like the color change for the imbue and then the color change
I've got one of
darker
those in my bank.
for the uncharge. And
Yeah, let me go look. I've got one in my bank, actually.
doesn't look good.
I'm curious now.
Yeah.
Really curious. Hey, Ben. What's going on, man?
Hello, Ben
Long time
Zero.
no
I
see.
don't know you.
He's a very good real life friend of mine.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Let's move on to the next thing. The scroll redirection changes. It looks different
Yeah.
now.
That's also, I think that's a good change too.
It looked exactly like Clues before.
Yes, they did. Yeah, I think they look good. That item model for what they look like now, isn't that from something to do with Morton? They look familiar. Isn't that like the?
Yeah, those
Prize
are
tickets.
incredibly similar to the temple trekking.
Yeah,
tickets, right?
That's right.
It's like a recolored temple trekking thing, I believe.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And then there's the.
Right, I gotta find my Ring of Wealth imbued now.
Oh yeah.
Where is it? Oh my god, that does look terrible.
I told you, it looks awful.
It looks like
But-
rusty and
Yeah,
gross.
but apart from that, the change is good. The lava battle staff ornament kit. I haven't seen it in game, but from the picture on the RuneScape forum post or the news post rather, it doesn't look that good to me. Because I have like the Steam battle staff ornament
It
kit
looks like a Q-tip.
Yeah, the Steam battle staff one looks really cool. The lava battle staff one, judging from that picture, does not look very good at all.
It looks like a big Q-tip.
Yes,
The Q-tip staff.
it's a Q-tip that somebody dunked into a lava pool, and that's pretty much it.
I kind of want to get one just because they look awful. I can trigger people. Fashionscape.
I might get one.
Also,
when
like, why
they're
did
cheaper.
they put the guy like wearing that? He's like wearing like Max Mage.
Is that
He's
the
got
third
this-
age
Well,
mage
no,
hat?
it isn't Max Mage because it's not ancestral. He's not wearing. Why isn't he
yeah.
wearing ancestral? What a scrub.
Time crunch for the post, maybe.
Maybe. Just blame Ronan. Did Ronan post this? Yep. Blame
Yeah, he
Ronan.
did.
It was
He did.
Ronan. It was
I
Ronan.
mean, even if Ronan
New
didn't post it,
hairstyles.
somebody would blame him.
Yeah, we can just blame Ronan for everything.
People love to blame the bull.
EOC. It's Ronan.
New haircuts.
The new haircuts. Have you
I
guys
like
tried
the
out the new haircuts?
mohawks.
I
Did you guys see
even-
the Sun on Old School cosplay someone did?
Yes.
No, I
It's
didn't
so
see
good.
it.
The mohawk.
Have you not seen it?
No,
I've
Oh
seen
my
it.
god, it's in the Discord we're in right now. It's in media
Yeah, it's in the
sharing.
Discord.
really? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
Rob,
take a look.
You have a mission, Rob. Go find it, post it in the Skype call for Rob, and then post it in the chat so chat can see it. Because this is
Okay.
great.
Okay,
This is
It's-
great.
It's
It's
hilarious.
is Rob finding it or am I?
so good.
I'm finding. I got
okay,
it right
Rob's
here.
finding it.
okay. I was like, I don't
And
see
it's
it.
so good.
Novacy says he's here for his apology. I already apologized to you. I'm sorry. I actually do want you to get the Zora pet. We've already covered this.
Okay, look at that, and then look at this.
Can you actually post it in the Discord again? Like DM it to me because I'm recording the podcast on OBS, and if I open the chat window on Skype, it's gonna move stuff.
Yeah, these
Right.
links look sketchy.
Or you
but
put it in the you put it in the chat. Okay, I'll just click on that.
That works.
They're Discord links because that's where I pulled it from.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
But-
I'm gonna open it up just because it's great.
It's so good, dude.
Oh man,
That looks-
the
that looks
Sun
really
on
good.
Old School cosplay.
That's really good actually. Wow, nailed it.
Hey Verf, what's going on, man?
Get fished. Yeah.
We now have all your emails. Good job.
All three of them.
Yeah, so there's that one. There's like a Mod West looking haircut. Man, what else is there? There's a bunch of like side part haircuts. So we have like 3 different side parts now. There's a couple like shaved sides. There's one with like the douchey like spiked in the front look. And then have you guys seen like the Shaolin monk one where it's like just the ponytail in the back? It
Yeah.
looks like something just suction cupped to the back of your head. Is what it looks like. It's unnatural. It shouldn't look like that. It looks really weird.
I didn't actually look at any of them. Like I saw the headline for that section was new haircuts, and I kept scrolling because I just don't care.
You're like, that's cool. I wear a helmet all the time.
Yeah, or a hood. Like I just
Or hood. We in the hood now.
I don't know, I like Fashionscape with like items, but I just never like the base outfit doesn't matter that much because you're almost never
Haircuts are
wearing
important,
nothing.
Chase.
Okay.
They are.
All right.
Haircuts matter.
All right.
Haircut lives matter.
I did think it was funny though. I actually saw on Twitter today that somebody had tweeted at Ash asking that he remove the fringe haircut because the person it was based on is a known rule breaker for the game, and Ash fucking slammed him and wrote like, "Tweet me when you have a question worth answering" or something.
Yeah.
It was so good.
I saw that. Yeah, I love Ash for stuff like that.
Me too.
Sometimes it just needs to be said that you're an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has to say it. So we now have animations for wines and battle staffs.
They don't.
People have been asking for this forever.
I like those. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Some people think the battle staff animation looks kind of silly because like you go to put it on the battle staff, but like the orb just kind of like fades in on top. Like you have the orb in your hand, and you go to put it on there, it just fades onto it.
Didn't really
You don't
notice actually.
Put it on there.
I just think that an animation is an improvement over nothing.
Yeah, animation is an improvement over not having an animation. Yeah. Now it can be like, oh, the animation looks funny, instead of being like, why is there no animation? So I think animations for stuff like that's important. I mean, it's sort of like an immersive thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard to say you like immersive or playing RuneScape. But it would just be weird if stuff didn't have animations, right?
Yeah.
It sticks out. You notice it. For the wine animation, I've seen the wine animation once, I think. Somebody sent me an image of it.
Yeah.
I think the wine animation looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty good.
It's just like putting grapes into the jug, right? Something like that.
Yeah. You like tilt the jug and put the grape in it.
Yep.
Basically.
It's not bad.
I'm pretty sure that's not how you make wine, but I'm not going to argue.
No, there's a lot of processes to making wine.
Imagine if winemaking was as bad as brewing. Oh my god, what Jmod made brewing?
Brewing makes me want to die, and I've only done it for quests.
I had to do it for Master Clues. Which Jmod did brewing?
I don't think they can say because then they'll get flamed.
Yo, yeah. It's like, he still works here. We can't say.
He's taking a pay cut, but he still works here.
We don't like him, but he works here.
We put him in the corner.
He has the worst office.
Yeah.
You guys don't even know. Fashionscape is important. Let me take a look at this now.
That actually looks pretty cool.
That's swaggin'. That is hot. That is some hotness.
Some Frodo swaggins right there.
One of my friends used to have that as his Steam name on Steam. You guys ever roll up into like a Counter-Strike game or a Dota game, and all you and your friends all have like similar like profiles and stuff like that? One time we did that, but we were all Power Rangers.
Oh boy.
One time we did it, we were all Lord of the Rings characters. One time we did it, we were Lord of the Rings characters, but with like weird names like YOLO Swaggins, stuff like that.
My favorite Steam name that I've ever had was Sexually Active Toyota Prius, and I'm really sad I can't put that to a RuneScape username.
Fuck.
What?
Sexually Active Toyota Prius.
Run that by me again?
Sexually Active Toyota Prius.
It sounds like some sort of like weird like rap song where like, you know, where they just have like the like loop of like some
just to stretch this out as long as we can and make the people who watch this on YouTube later really mad. Could you say it again, Rob?
Sexually Active Toyota Prius.
Perfect.
See,
thank
no,
you.
like you add like a beat to that. Sexually Active Toyota Prius. Somebody better make that into a mixtape.
Oh boy.
Put it on your soundboard.
Like that Guns Chili. We got the Guns Chili SoundCloud uploaded. Have you guys heard that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We can do it. Together we can make the RFT podcast great again. Even though this is the first one.
We have plenty of room for improvement then.
So Prayer Scrolls.
Yeah.
Prayer Scrolls and raid drop changes.
Yeah.
So speaking of people we want to offend today, PVMers. We want to piss off high level PVMers.
Real PVMers.
I'm pretty sure I know
always
what
putting
we're
quotes.
I'm pretty sure I know what we're gonna say to this, which is they made the Dexters and Arcane Scrolls way more likely to get, right? Like
Yes.
30% more likely.
Yep.
So overall, that means getting a rare drop from raids is 30% more likely. It doesn't change the ratio of what you get. You're still like going to get more price scrolls than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, you get 30% more rare loot from raids. And I saw a ton of butthurt on Twitter about this. Nothing on Reddit. Nobody said anything on Reddit, but a lot of people being very upset about this change on Twitter.
Wasn't it double the current or the previous chance for prayer scrolls and then 30% across the board on top of that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So
Okay.
big buff to raids drop tables, basically.
I approve.
I approve as well.
I did not like feeling like I had wasted a week and a half when it came out.
Yep, that's what I
might
felt
actually start doing them.
Yeah, raids. I think raids might actually be worth your time now, because before, unless you had like literally fuck all to do, I felt like raids weren't worth your time.
See, yeah, since you guys are Iron Men, so we've had different raid teams, and so I've been part of this DM with our friend group, and every day I usually wake up and somebody sent a message like, "Who's down for raiding?" And then so for like every day,
nobody says anything.
Well, a couple of them are still doing it, but every day for like a month, I've woken up and been like, "Fuck no."
Just no.
Yeah, I just felt like it was a waste of time. And I also do like with this change, they've also made the Olm pet a little bit less rare. And I think because didn't Kieran release information about how rare it was relative to the Bloodhound pet before this change? He said it was
10
like
times more rare.
10 times rarer than the Bloodhound pet, which already takes a ridiculous amount of time statistically to get. I just don't understand how.
It took longer combined to get the Bloodhound pet on average than all the other pets.
And then the Olm pet was 10 times that.
Yeah.
So that's 20,000 hours because Bloodhound has averaged 2K hours.
Yeah.
I don't understand how if they had that figure on hand, they were okay with putting it into the game at that rate. That's fucking dumb. It's a big middle finger to anybody who wants to hunt pets.
I don't know who came up with the drop table rates, but I've said since like the first week of raids that raids is fun. The drop table is wrong.
Yes.
Like the drop table is just so wrong.
And there's the whole part about that we talked about on our dry run about how every single raid is a massive Twitch chat killer, and I hate the part where you have to prepare supplies every raid because it ruins the flow of what you were doing with your friends. There's just like a fucking standstill every raid. And we talked about what you could do to make raids better. Yes, I suggested a shop. Right? I suggested this the other day.
Why don't we have a shop?
I made a Reddit post, which I feel dirty even saying that, but I made a Reddit post about how there should be a resource shop within raids that you are able to sacrifice some of your raid points, which means that impacts your loot potential. So it's balanced, because if you're willing to sacrifice your loot potential because you're confident that you won't die for the remainder of the raid, you can just shell out some points and get some potions in return. You don't have to spend 20 minutes preparing. If you and your team are confident that you're not going to go deathless at Ulm, rather, then you can just use this shop, sacrifice some points, and get through the raid a bit faster. And I see no downside.
What would also probably be a good idea is if you could maybe you give them the seeds, so you have to go get the seeds. Seeds plus points gives you potions. Bait plus points gives you food. You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think that might be a good idea.
Go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead, Rob.
No, you go.
Rob, go.
I kind of agree with Ozium here. Like, I don't think raid should be made faster, but I don't think a big stalling. I don't think there should be a stall on the raid. I don't think you should have to wait for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes to make supplies. Yeah. However, like I don't think raid should be completed any faster than what they're already being completed at now, which is what, like I think the speed
records. I don't care about speed run records, but I think that I agree.
I don't particularly care about speed records either, because I don't think the average player.
No, they don't. Most people don't care, but I think that I'm open to anything that would streamline the process of having to stop and do the
because it kind of really just kills the flow of raids, right? Yes. Like you're going through, killing the bosses. All right, hold up, 5 to 10 minutes to get supplies. Let's go.
All right, what if they put in the store, but they added more rooms per floor?
That would be fine with me.
I would be fine with that.
More encounters that are actually fun to do. Totally.
Yeah, I think that'd be a much better change versus just cutting time in it completely.
I'd totally support that.
Yeah, I'm totally behind that change. But yeah, overall, we all kind of agree that like the drop table was pretty flawed. Yeah. It's good that they're improving the drop table. Not everyone agrees with that, obviously, but
I still have a hard time wrapping my head around the let's release the Olm pet at 20,000 average hours per Olm pet. Like I can't believe that. You do realize that this news post came with everybody in game that has an Olm pet right now? It's 12 people.
Yeah. 12 people.
Been over a month. 12 people.
12. Not a single person. Think about it this way: the most people did the raids the very first 2 weeks that it came out.
Mm-hmm.
More than at any other point in the game, unless they release another expansion to raids or something like that, right? There were more people doing raids those 2 weeks than any other time is in the future is going to happen. Nobody got it for the first week.
Yep, and I think 2 people got it.
One guy got it the second week,
or 1, yeah.
Or
it's
two.
just,
yeah, it was either 1 or 2.
oh man, it's just like I don't know,
which is unbelievable.
I don't know
right?
how they thought that was an acceptable rarity to put it in the game at. It's absurd, and how it wasn't changed until now. Like, I'm glad they changed it. They're moving in the right direction, but I can't imagine thinking it was okay.
And there's so many players that are upset that these drop table changes are unpulled. To which I say, well, I mean, if Jagex thinks they're the ones that screwed up, then wouldn't it make sense that they want to make these changes? Because they're like, wait, we didn't get it how we intended.
Yep. I think that you can be mad about it not being pulled, but it's a balance change, and it's kind of a necessity to a certain extent.
Yeah,
because you want people to do raids.
Yeah, I mean, you want people to do the content. You want the content worth doing, and this is something we talked about when we did the dry run. We talked about the content has to be worth doing. Like, right, everything in RuneScape is basically one big Skinner's box, which is saying like you're doing some repetitive crap over and over again for some reward that makes the little neurons fire in your brain. Say, "Ooh, yeah, that was worth doing." Right. The problem is with raids, the ratio is way off. Right. Raids may be very profitable over a long period of time, but in terms of most players doing raids, most of us figured out raids weren't worth doing. And like the first week, we were like, yeah, I didn't get anything from this. And I spent a week of time doing it. This is clearly not worth my time. So they have to very closely balance that portion of it, right? How much like reward do they give you for how much time and effort you put into doing it?
Yeah.
There's a fine balance between, well, this is rewarding over 100 hours, and well, this is rewarding instantaneously, like Zolra.
Yeah,
right?
I think that
there's a fine balance they gotta find.
The balance was definitely off, and Hayden in the chat says that they may have done it on purpose because more people were doing it at the beginning, and they didn't want to flood the game with X item or
that's true.
Pet.
It may have been intentional, Hayden. It could have been intentional.
I just disagree because of the language they use in the post, because they say we've seen quite a lot less Olm Pets than we may have liked to, so I think they're admitting fault. I think it's too rare for even what they wanted, so I don't think it was quite intentional how rare it was, but I think they were trying it at least at that drop rate.
This is actually kind of something I've touched on, I think, a few times in the past, which is it's better for Jagex to put something in the game underpowered and buff it than it is for them to put something in the game overpowered, players abuse it, and then nerf it.
That's true.
That feels a lot worse for the players that did the thing, or the players that didn't get to do the thing. Whereas if you put content in the game that's kind of underpowered and people don't want to do it, then you buff it. Well,
yeah,
now
you
people
can just
want
make
to
it more appealing. That's true.
Elysium, my man. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Like, I get you, man. It's that's how the content was designed and stuff, and it may be flawed in their eyes because it didn't come out perfectly correctly. Like, I found out within the first 2 days that doing raids was not worth my time. As someone who is not maxed, I have lots of other shit to do in the game. And with RuneScape,
that's how I feel about it too.
It's a game that takes thousands of hours to reach literal in-game where you have nothing else to do but do some raids. The time I spent in raids could have been better spent doing something else that was actually benefiting my account versus just sitting there and sitting there, sitting there, sitting there.
It brings up an interesting topic, which this is the thing I always ran into on discussing raids with people, which is the usage of the word end game. What do you guys feel like end game PVM means?
It's the end of the game, and it's PVM that you do at that point. So you have a good point. Like, you really, to be considered 100% end game content, you really need to have done most of what the game has to offer to be prepared to grind for that content, like for X amount of time afterwards.
Right. So you basically have to have reached the point on your account where you're probably nearly max combat. You have little else, or there's nothing in the game PVM wise you can't do, right? You have gear to do most things in the game. You have stats to do most things in the game, right? So then why me, as basically an end game account, why do I feel like raids isn't worth doing? I think that's the question. Why do you, as a maxed player,
Yeah, that's
feel like raids
to
aren't
hammer the
worth
point
doing?
home. You guys have lots of shit to do. I don't. My goal right now is to hunt pets, and I felt like raids were a massive waste of my time, that means that it's kind of unbalanced because I've got nothing left to do.
As a streamer, the only thing I do is play RuneScape, put out YouTube videos, and stream. I felt like it was a waste of my time.
Yeah.
I guess I get people's point, which is like, yeah, the everything from raids should be stupidly rare because it's endgame, and we want you to do it for endgame, right? But at the same time, like, it should be rewarding, right?
I think case by case basis is important here because it's like you could argue that doing a pet hunt to begin with is an endgame thing to do because that's why I'm doing it now because I have nothing else to do. But the fact that they brought in a pet, which is the 35th pet in the hunt, might I add, not like the 5th or 10th or whatever, 35th, that one is, again, rarer than all the other ones combined. So I'm already doing endgame content that's going to take years. And then they just make it unreasonably rare, and it makes you not want to do it anymore.
Like, not only that, I'd be completely okay with keeping things the way they are as long, like, all right, so if they took certain items from the drop table and made them, as rare as they are pre, this update that gave, the extra 30% buff, like Twisted Bow, for example. If you had drops in there that, like, whenever you got them and, they were rare as shit, not everyone had one, that made you go like, oh shit, he got it. That'd be cool. But you need to have something that's also there to cushion that. Like if the Dragon Claws and the Dragon Harpoons and shit and the Dragon Hunter Crossbow, those things were on a, not necessarily like a completely separate drop table, but they were more frequent. Like you got them more often. They were more common. Whereas they were like something, to like pass the time in terms of you getting drops. Whereas for the most part, like Nigel, you've done what, like 60, 70 raids, haven't seen a single item in your name?
Yeah, I've done a little over 70 raids now. Haven't seen a single item in my name.
Like of any kind. Like,
which,
not
by
even
the way,
throwing axes.
By the way, is pretty normal based on the numbers we had on OS Buddy.
Normal.
OS Buddy kept track of the drops for the 2 weeks that all the OS Buddy players got. And I took those numbers and I crunched the numbers. And basically, if you were getting 20,000 points per raid, it would take you 1.8 million. It's 1.8 million points previous to any drop rate fiddling that they've done. It was previously 1.8 million points for you to get an item in your name, approximately. If you're doing 2 raids an hour at 20k points per raid, it would take you like 60 something hours on average to get an item in your name. And that's like,
it's horrible.
That's horrible. That's horrifically bad, right?
Yeah.
And that's anything. That's like, that could be a dragon harpoon, could be dragon throwing axes, could be something totally useless. It was bad. There's a reason why they changed the drop rates, I think. And I think that's why it was just unreasonably rare.
Yeah.
It's even with the changes, it's still in-game content for sure.
Yeah, it's still very rare.
Yeah.
If we say we're bringing down the average to get an item like from 60 hours down to like 50 hours, that's still really rare.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the numbers are now, and I guess we have to wait till they release drop rates, but I don't know. The stuff was just unreasonably rare before, I think. And this is speaking as somebody who did 1,400 kills at Bandos to get tacits. I thought it was unreasonable, right?
Yeah.
Even when I was like, yeah, raids aren't worth my time.
Yeah, you gotta
killing 1,400 Bandos is worth my time. Yeah, there's something to be said.
You also gotta consider the fact that that's average. That's like on average is how much.
Yeah, it's an average.
It doesn't even think about getting extremely unlucky. Like RNG might just screw you, and then that 60 hours turns into 400 hours. And if you're an Iron Man, that's just unreasonable to expect somebody to do.
It shouldn't take that long to see a single unique.
Yep.
It should not.
Because it could just be a garbage unique, and most likely it is. There's more stuff on the table that doesn't matter than there's stuff that does matter.
So, different question. LCS Pro wants to know if I would like a comp cape in the game, and I want to open that question up to you guys too. I think that I don't necessarily really want it, but I also wouldn't mind it being added. I feel like it's a
Jagex has already
goal.
stated their reasoning on it.
I actually don't remember what their reasoning was.
Their reasoning is we're not going to do a comp cape because players will vote no to future content because it would be added to the comp cape. Which I kind of agree with. We said earlier, players vote selfishly. Players do vote selfishly. We vote selfishly. People would look at new content and they'd say, what does this mean to me, the consumer? That's what they would say. And they probably would vote no to some stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Just because, oh, I don't want to do that for comp. Fuck that.
That's a
But
really
when
good
it's
point,
perfectly
actually.
reasonable content.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the thing is, like, I wouldn't go out of my way to like campaign for a comp cape, but it's the kind of thing that I wouldn't mind working on in my spare time if it was in the game. But that is a very serious inherent flaw with that suggestion.
Yeah. What do you think, Rob? You think I think we should have one, but I understand why we're not going to have one.
Yeah.
What do you think, Rob?
I don't think there should be a cape per se. However, I would like to see a completionist system in the game where that be like a scoreboard type thing that tracks it all or anything
something
like
in your
that.
house, like your adventures log,
Yeah,
right?
like
That'd be
that
cool.
would be cool.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that. But like for the exact reason of comp cape, like their exact reason Jagex gave, I completely agree with that. And their reasoning on that. What's up, DVS? How's your combat bracelet going, buddy?
Oh, dude, yes, I saw your Twitter post the other day. They used one of your things as an ad, like your raid video as an ad. That's cool as fuck. You made it, dude. You're big leagues now.
There realistically be anyone with a comp cape at this point in time? Yes. There would be several people.
Yeah, but there would
There's
be.
actually a clan dedicated to comping.
Totus.
Yeah,
Shout out to
Totus.
Totus. Please sponsor us.
My boy Totus.
You guys
Why
got
is
any of that
DBS
Totus?
modded here? I'm gonna mod DBS. There you go.
I thought he was modded.
Yeah, I thought he was modded too. I don't know why he
He is
was.
now.
We've hung out in Discord. DBS is a cool guy.
Yep,
Yeah, he's
spoken to him
nice.
too.
Right. So I think we can move on from raids and comp cape.
Yeah, I agree.
What else is there? Various bug fixes and stuff, right? Add the
Yeah.
Castle Wars bracelet and dragon throwing access to Tournament World chest. Ooh. Tournament World. We didn't talk about Tournament
Oh
World.
yeah.
Tournament World.
We probably won't spend too long on Tournament Worlds.
No, how many hours have you guys spent on Tournament World since it came out?
One. Oh, this one?
None.
This current one? 0.
This current one.
All Tournament Worlds ever? 1 hour.
I have not been on the Tournament World this time. Last time Tournament World was here, I went and Bridded Lowlander. Me and him did no honor Bridding. Pretty fun. The Lowlander's pretty good at the game, turns out. He didn't even have to have anyone tank. It was amazing. But yeah, we don't care about the Tournament World,
throw
right?
in the shade. Yeah, fuck that
Well,
guy.
I
He
think it's
maxed
fun.
before
I think
me.
it's funny that Din's Bulwark, people call it the Lowlander Shield.
Wow, I didn't actually even hear that. That's pretty funny.
Yep.
Rob enjoyed
I've
that.
heard that more than a few times.
Oh man. Yeah, no, the Tournament
People always
Worlds,
ask me.
they're cool to try, but I don't understand spending extensive amounts of time on them. There's no point, in my opinion. It's like if you really like PKing that much, you don't need a Tournament World. Just PK
Yeah, just
normally.
go PK. Come on.
Yeah.
I think their idea with the Tournament World and opening up the Tournament World is it gets people to like go try it. You know, it's like there's no risk involved. Just go try PKing. We promise it's fun. Go do it, please.
And then the worlds are really laggy, and then you DC, and then you have to log back in, and then your settings reset. That's always
so
fun.
it's just like normal PKing. Because you're gonna get hit offline. It's, man. I'm trying to think of more topics, but I think
Yeah.
we're kind of
I think we're kind of
kinda out of
freeform at this
topics.
point, right?
yeah, we're
We can
freeform
talk
at
about
this
whatever
point.
we want.
Yeah, we could
Somebody
take
just
chat
chucked
questions.
Yeah, if anybody
Somebody
has a
just chucked a
question,
donation at me, actually. Jordan said, "Shout out to Indie Blade and the PogChamp podcast."
Aw.
thank you, Jordan.
Thanks, Jordan.
Nalra,
Jordan.
buddy, if you're still around, man, you had a question towards the very beginning of the stream. If you'd want to throw that back in here, we could probably take that now.
we're open
Hayden
to
says,
questions.
so here's my personal opinion, but here it goes. I think at this point in old school, we can trust the devs to not burn the game to the ground completely. So probably trash the whole polling thing. Thoughts? I personally think there should be changes to the polling system, but I don't think it should go
Yeah,
away altogether.
I
I
agree.
think the polling system should be changed.
Yeah,
I
Without a
like the
poll.
direction they're going in with current polls, which is they're polling stuff and then they're getting feedback from players about future stuff they might poll, so they can be better informed about what the players want. That I think is the direction they should go in. They should get players' opinions about things, and then decide on a very cohesive direction to go with an update and say, "Do you guys want this?" And like they did with Zaya, they should just poll pretty vague stuff and do what they think is best. I think.
yeah,
I think the devs should have a bit of freedom. They care about the game, right?
yeah. I think that we can trust the devs. It's just a matter of, I feel like the polling system was a good idea to begin with because it helps protect the integrity of what people think is acceptable for old school. But of course, we've talked about the inherent problems with the polling system, so they should change it to make it better without polling it.
That's something we didn't talk about.
What?
Thoughts on Divine?
Oh yeah, we didn't really mention Divine, did we? I'll start. I think Divine, it's significantly better than Ellie, but it has a downside.
Yeah.
But there are places where that downside doesn't really matter. So the question is, do we want something that's better than an Ellie with no downside? At a few places in the game. There's a couple places in the game where the downside just doesn't matter.
I think that the option, unfortunately, this isn't the option that got the most support, but I think the option that was the best is to offer it as an addition to the Ellie. I
agree with that completely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Personally, I think the Divine effect is a little too powerful, and I said I didn't want it at all.
I also
But
would
that's
be
just
okay
my
with
personal
it.
opinion.
I'd be okay with it not coming in at all, but if it were to come in, I'd prefer it to be an add-on to the Ellie and not its own thing.
Yeah, like if it has to come
If we
in the
were
game.
to see it in the game, I agree. It
Yeah.
should be in addition to the Ellie.
I'm not one to use the word devalue a lot, but it would heavily devalue the Ellie and making it an
Yeah, the
add-on.
Ellie's an iconic item.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said for iconic items. And I think that's at the core. I think that's why the new raid armors didn't pass.
It's a good point. I mean,
Bandos
there's
and Armadillo.
a lot of
iconic
this game
armors.
runs on nostalgia, so I think it's probably a very good point.
Yeah. If we're going back to chat questions, Nara says, in each of your opinion on the Dragon Warhammer drop rate, I'm currently grinding it, so I was wondering what you guys thought about the T60 Dragon item not being locked behind a quest or something. Also, what do you speculate the Lizardman layers around the swamp will be used for? That would be where the new shamans are located outside raids.
I have no speculation for that
I don't
future
either.
content, but I think the fact that the new shamans aren't locked behind anything is kind of a sort of a blunder, considering the older ones are worse to do, but you have to get Shazu in favor to do them. It rubs me the wrong way. But I like that they make shamans more accessible because 1 in 5,000 is a pretty rare drop rate.
Mhm.
And obviously Dragon Warhammers are extremely useful. So we want more of those in the game. We want the Dragon Warhammer to be a more accessible item, I
I
think.
want to go back to this real quick. Lucandor says that raises a problem for Iron Men. If you get the Divine drop, but you have no Ellie, it would feel useless. And I don't know if that would be a problem exactly because
No.
it is the strongest shield it would be the strongest shield in the game.
It would be the
with
strongest
a
shield.
ridiculously powerful effect. I don't think that's inherently a problem. I think that makes it so that it's balanced because then you still have to keep grinding for the Ellie to make it useful. And
Yeah, and to begin with, I mean, at that point, you're just getting a sigil. There have been several Iron Men that have gotten
That's
several
fair.
sigils without getting a single blessed shield.
Yeah,
you
no
already
elixir.
you already need multiple items to make it useful anyway, so I don't think it's inherently
Yeah.
a problem if that's the way they choose
Yeah,
to introduce it.
and here's my thoughts about that. Just a little further up than just, well, doesn't that fuck over Iron Man? Here's the reality: Iron Men are 5% of the player base. They don't bounce the game around us. They don't. We're just not a big consideration when it comes to how they want to implement stuff in the game. If they consider us at all, we should do one of these. Oh, thank you, Jagex. You know, if they consider you at all, you should be happy.
You should grovel.
Unfortunately, that's the reality of being a huge minority in the player base. That's just
Yeah.
you just got to deal with it. You just got to deal with it.
Going back to the Dragon Warhammer though, so we're not
Yeah,
just like
sure.
segueing off of it.
Sorry.
Personally, like I like the rarity to how useful it is. Like while it is a T60 Dragon item, the usefulness, like the spec on it, I feel like that transcends the fact that it's a T60 Dragon item. Like
I
for
agree.
how useful it is, the drop rate on it is good.
That's a very good
It
point.
should be at least somewhat rare. Like everyone and their mother should just, well, got a Warhammer, take it everywhere.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with Rob entirely. The T60, it's kind of irrelevant that it's the tier it has is irrelevant. It doesn't matter if it had been like a tier 80 or a tier 40. With the way it functions, it would be just as useful.
Yep. Dragon Warhammer is a powerful item. It deserves to be rare.
Yep.
That being said, there is a point to where you're like, okay, this is a little unreasonable. Like we talked about with raids, there's a point where it's unreasonable. 1 in 5,000, I don't feel like is that unreasonable, especially given you can kill 1 shaman per minute. There's like, I actually crunched the numbers for this on Twitter yesterday when I was talking to Fonz, and I was talking about the raids drop rates and how I thought they were just a little bit unreasonable when they came out.
Mhm.
If you were to take 1 shaman per minute and you got it right on the drop rate, you got it right in 5,000, right? You got it within that 60, I think it's 63% if you get it right on the nose,
Mhm.
right? So you're in the average amount of players that gets it by 5,000. You can reasonably estimate it will take you 83 hours of killing shamans to get it.
Should have been 73.
Right? So going back to raids, we said it was like what? Like it was slightly over 60 hours to get any item at raids. Shamans, it's 80 hours to get exactly the item you want if you get average luck.
It's
right?
easy. Just be Catherine.
Yeah, just be Catherine. Go there and get it in 5 minutes.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't feel like for the average player that 80-hour figure for one of the best spec weapons in the game, I feel like that's fine. It's the exact item you want.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
You know?
Yeah.
That's like the equivalent of like going to Sardome and in 80 hours you get exactly the hill.
Yeah.
You
Or
know?
like if you don't even want to camp for it yourself, you can do 40 hours of Zora and buy it.
Think of all the long bones you're gonna get from killing all those shamans. It'd be great.
Let's see here. What do you guys think about new skilling bosses in quotes being added to the game?
So we got Winter Todd, obviously. And is that not the only one?
Winter thought.
Yeah, that's the only one. Like, what
Okay.
are your thoughts on additional ones?
We talked about Winter Todd on the dry run.
We did about the drop rates for everything and how it
Yeah.
affected the economy.
The thing, yeah, that's the thing with adding a new boss to the game, especially a skilling boss. You've always got to consider how's it going to affect the metagame, how's it going to affect the economy. With Winter Todd, when Winter Todd came out, it created all sorts of havoc for how the in-game economy worked.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Ranar seeds were kind of worthless, but the Ranar herbs were still worth something, and prayer potions were still worth something, right? So it basically devalued a bunch of other content that gave you Ranar seeds. Right, so you have to look at how it's going to affect the economy. Would I like other skilling bosses? Technically, fishing trawler is sort of a fishing boss. Because I mean, the Winter Todd's basically a mini game.
Yeah, it's a
right?
mini game, pretty much.
It's a
You have
mini
to
game.
have to implement it right. There'd have to be enough motivation to do it without it being too powerful or fucking up the economy. And then Finn's follow-up question is, what about just different ways to train, if not a boss? I think that it's exciting. Like we were just talking about Hunter being useless in a lot of ways. Like some methods are just never used. And actually, Mod Wolf said that hint, hint, Fossil Island is coming out. New training methods for certain skills might be coming. And that's pretty cool. But I think that I don't know, like a new method for fishing, for example. Like, do we really need one?
I disagree on needing more skilling bosses. The reason I really enjoyed Winter Todd and I like the idea of it is because previously without that, you had to buy logs and you burnt them. You got nothing in return. You were literally burning money. There was no benefit whatsoever after, what was it, like level 65, I think?
No,
I guess
you need to
85
make
for
the
diary.
the diaries. Yeah,
But at the diary
yeah,
came
you
out
were
before or
essentially
after Todd?
literally lighting money on fire for
Nothing. Yeah. So having the boss gave a better way to train it, as well as you getting reward from it. So every skill in the game, you have a potential to make profit from it, no matter what it is currently in the game. And I briefly thought over everything in my mind a minute ago, and there's no skill that really has that issue anymore. There's no skill to where you're just throwing money away. I mean, there is if you train inefficiently, but I mean, there are ways that you can get around it. Like there are ways where you're getting some benefit out of it.
Yeah.
And
most skills in the game, you put some time in, you put the effort, you get the levels, and you get something out of it as a tangible benefit that the consumer can use.
yeah. And in terms of adding new skilling, like training methods, we'll go with that. I'm not opposed to it, but I don't think it should really break the like I don't think it should transcend current XP rates. Like if you want to get more variety in like what you're doing, go for it, man. There's really no downside to that. And for the people saying construction and prayer is one of the best things in the game.
Yeah,
hands down.
super
Construction
useful.
has plenty of uses. What's
a lot of
fire
people
making
don't
gonna
know.
get you? Balloons?
A lot of people
Fuck
don't
is
know
the
about
balloon?
prayer. The more prayer points you have, the more your prayer potions heal.
There are thresholds for that, obviously, right?
Yeah, there's a threshold, but
that is true too.
99 prayer is useful because for one, you have more prayer points, and for two, your prayer potions heal for more.
Yep.
Which is important for a few things in the game.
Not only that, but it already is. It's not like you're burning money for no reason. Like you're obviously getting
Yeah,
a benefit
it benefits
from it already.
your combat prowess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I misspoke when I was saying profit. Like, well, you do make profit with Wintertide. It gives you like a
benefit.
Something.
Yeah.
It benefits
It gives you
your
something in
account.
return for training the skill.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whereas previously,
just XP.
Yes.
Gave you just XP.
Yeah. So that was my bad. Poor wording on my part. But like, construction, you get house stuff. There's shit in your house that's really nice.
They made it
Rejuvenation
very useful
pool,
too
the
with that
fairy
update.
ring.
So good.
Yes, they did. It's so good. Prayer, as we just spoke about, is really good.
Yeah, think about construction before the big construction update. Who the fuck got construction past 72 unless they wanted a max? Like, you built your guild altar and boom,
Nobody.
you were done.
People saved their money instead because for a long time there was no reason to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now it's one of the best skills in the game to train up.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was almost 2K total with like 72 construction before the update came out.
Makes sense.
I think I did pass 2K total with no construction levels past 72. I don't know, like there was just no point to train it previous to the construction update. Now it's really good. And the same thing with fire making. I think Winter Todd was good for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get some more questions from the chat.
Yep. What else do you guys want us to talk about? In the meantime, while we're waiting for questions, we could always, is there anything you want to talk about in terms of your YouTube channel, Nigel, or how streaming's been going? Either of you? Could always.
I've been getting hosted a lot by Adam, so my stream's been going really well.
It's good.
Press looking at Star, still dry. No hilt.
We're expecting you to get partnered relatively soon here, if the growth continues, I think.
Hopefully, yes. Yeah. Hopefully at the end of February, I'm going to be applying again.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Hopefully they'll look at me and say, yeah, you're good to go.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. Dom says, what are your thoughts on BGS compared to Dragon Warhammer spec? Currently, BGS spec is 65, Dragon Warhammer is 50%. Most people agree BGS is a weaker weapon. It is. Do you think the BGS should be changed to 50%, Dragon Warhammer to 100, or both? We already pulled BGS getting buff spec.
Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah, they went up to 10 mil each.
Yeah,
it's just the potential of it. Yeah, it didn't happen. I think. Okay, so let me just ask a clarifying question first, Nigel. I think you probably know the answer to this. So the spec of the BGS obviously uses more, and I feel like I've heard that it maybe it depends on what you're fighting, but it can't always be used if your target's defense has already been lowered.
No, the way the BGS spec works. Okay, here's how it works. BGS is actually a really weird weapon, and it's really cool. Basically, it lowers the stats of the enemy in a certain order. And the order it goes in, I believe, is defense. And then if it has no defense, it drains strength. And if it has no strength, it drains magic. And then if it's no magic, it goes... Basically, it has like an order of the combat skills it goes through. So if you were to, say, hit like a 5,000 with a BGS somehow, like with some insane hacks, then you would just eviscerate all their combat stats. Is how it works.
Okay.
But usually it doesn't mean a lot. It's kind of cool for pure PKers because sometimes they'll be fighting people with one defense and you smack them with the BGS and it actually lowers their combat effectiveness. Which is why sometimes you see people use it. But yeah, pretty much it's just a budget Dragon Warhammer. So when people use it for.
People sometimes ask if why don't I use it at mall or whatever. I'm just like, because it's worse. Largely, wherever you go, it's worse.
Yeah.
One of the only places I think it's better is soloing Zami or like soloing Bandos, because I think you would rather use an SGS, or at least it's close in those places, right? It depends what you're doing and if you're flicking and stuff like that, right? But the accuracy, it's more accurate than the Dragon Warhammer. So I've had people say at Zami that they prefer using the BGS.
Yeah, I've heard that too,
because it's more accurate. So. And yeah, like Riley said, at Corp, when you're lowering Corp, you switch to the BGS after a certain amount of hits with the Dragon Warhammer.
So, Cryptid asks, do you guys feel like the Elite Diary armor fits into the game? I'm guessing he means cosmetic-wise. Like, do you think it fits the aesthetic of old school? I think is what he's asking. Because
I think it works.
Its functionality is obviously... Yeah, like, I think it doesn't look like any other armor set, but that's a good thing, right? You want it to stand out. You want it to have its own identity as an armor set, and I think the Tier 4 armor looks really freaking cool.
Yeah, it's not game breaking or anything. It's not like it's best in slot armor. It's just useful for teleports and swagscape.
Riley says BGS is def, strength, attack, prayer, magic ranged. Okay, thank you, Riley. Tainted Blade asks a fun question here. Talk about how Jagex could fix the servers. I don't know about you guys, but maybe I'm the only one that can speak on this. But Essentially, the issue that they're having right now is not their fault. It's higher level than them. So it's at the ISP level. So it's nothing to do with their server. It's something to do with their provider right now.
Okay.
Not really anything they can fix other than talking with their provider. So the current problems we're experiencing are kind of outside of Jagex's control. But in general, a lot of like the lag and problems that we have are due to like people DDoSing the servers, generally speaking. This is a really shitty answer, but there's nothing Jagex can do to fix that. That has to do with just how the internet is built, how the internet functions, all the protocols that we use. You can't stop DDoSing. You can't stop it. It's impossible. There are things you can do to mitigate it, and Jagex has already taken a lot of those steps. But you can't fix it. It's never going to go away unless we fundamentally change the structure of the internet and how it works.
I've never found it particularly useful to talk about this topic anyway, because sometimes you'll get asked on your personal stream, what about the servers? Why is it so laggy? But it's like most players don't have enough experience with network stuff.
Yeah, and that's why I like to like sometimes take the time to clarify this, because I can speak on this. Like I do know a couple things about this. There's nothing Jagex can really do. They've taken the steps they need to. Jagex, they hire IT professionals. They know what they're doing. Just trust them. It's not an easy.
We have a question.
You can't really fix it.
Question from Bodhi on Instagram. What about the mole? Should it get more difficult? Should the drops get improved or anything, or get harder? I feel like the mole is very old school, if you want to call it that, and I think changing it now would be kind of silly. It was designed
to be a low tier boss.
Yeah, it's a lowish tier boss.
It's like the noobiest boss in the game.
But they didn't buff the drops per se, but they made it much better to do with the addition of the Falador Diaries, because then you get noted skins and claws. So it's still worth doing, and it's been kind of like brought into the future without it losing its old school feel to it. I think that changing it now after so much time of it being the way it is would be kind of silly and poorly received, personally.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh man, speaking of mole, let's see. Do I still have this command? I thought I had a command for like. There was 2 guys who were doing mole one day.
Oh, the noobs.
Yeah, the noobs. Or is it just noobs? Is the command noobs?
I don't know.
It's noobs. There we go. Check out that Gyazo. That's who mole was intended for, guys. When mole came out, that's who was supposed to be doing mole.
Mystic robes and an Addy kite shield, it looks like.
Those guys are beasts.
Don't his friend in granite dragon armor. They're duoing, of course, too.
Those guys are legends.
Duoing mole.
Shago Mako says, do you think the new DK's layer should be locked behind requirements like a diary?
It's already locked behind your Slayer task.
That's true. Yep. I think that the whole point is making them more accessible, so no.
A fun question about that, is this layer going to be instance or no? I don't think it will be.
We talked about this on the dry run. I don't see any reason for it to be.
Yeah, really. I wouldn't think it would be.
No, I doubt it. It would surprise me if it were.
With the way these servers are?
Oh, here's a fun question.
True.
This has come up a lot of times over the years. Is there any existing RS3 skill or a new skill you guys would like to see in the future in old school? And my take on it has always been, I was never opposed to Artisan, personally. I thought that would be fun. And
no, I thought Artisan was cool. I thought Sailing was cool.
Sailing, I did not vote for. I think that it was not the way... Like, I wouldn't mind Sailing if they improved/changed it. I didn't like the way it was proposed initially. But
yeah, the way I looked at Sailing was it was basically Dungeoneering, but like way improved. The thing that I disliked about Dungeoneering was always that it's this dungeon just like way out in the middle of nowhere, and that you go do it there, and it doesn't interact with the rest of RuneScape at all, other than the rewards that you got from it.
I don't know if it was just a me thing, but Sailing always rubbed me the wrong way. I think that as it was proposed, even with like when they hashed it out a bit more, I just didn't like it. But as somebody who enjoyed skilling, and of course we're getting more and more people to enjoy skilling and care about efficiency and working towards max now, I think that Artisan would have been a good addition.
Yeah, I agree. I really like Artisan as a skill. Like it was basically Slayer for skilling.
Slayer for skilling.
Yes.
Yeah, I really like that idea. However, like with skills that I would like to see in the game, never a huge fan of Dungeoneering, never a huge fan of Sailing. Like I didn't mind Sailing the way it was proposed, but like
how about Summoning? Do we like Summoning here?
No.
I'm gonna get into Summoning. There's a reason I like Summoning, and I'm about to talk about it. The reason I like Summoning is because with Charms, it adds something new to the drop table of pretty much everything in the game. as well as taking the items for making scrolls, some of the useless things like raw chicken or wolf bones or these really niche items that no one ever uses, gave them a use in the game. I'd really like a skill that did something similar to that. Because like right now, what is your reason to go and kill, excluding early game Iron Man looking for a rune scimitar, what is your reasoning off Slayer task to kill fire giants?
No.
There isn't one.
There's
There's so many enemies in the game exactly like that, where they have no use outside of killing it for Slayer or the one specific drop in a
That's
really
the whole
niche
point.
moment.
Slayer was added though, was to add to that. Here's the reason I didn't like summoning.
But like, if they added a skill,
totally changed combat.
Yeah,
I
didn't
think
like that either.
I think summoning was the first horseman of EOC.
I agree.
I agree with that completely. I don't want summoning back for that exact reason, but I would like a skill that
You
did
would like
those
something
things.
similar that made
They would have to
dead content
change
more
it.
useful.
They'd have to change it so it's more useful on the skilling front and less useful on the combat front. And I think that this is a lot less important, but it made me unreasonably angry that it changed your combat level. I fucking hated that.
Well, it makes sense that it changed your combat level. It totally
I know,
changed combat.
I know it did. I
Yeah.
couldn't stand it. Yeah, I don't know. I think that my take on summoning is that there's just no reason that like old school just doesn't need it as it was. Like it would have to be
skill dumbass.
it would have to be super changed for summoning to be an old school thing because a lot of it was just overpowered and a lot of people just didn't like the way it was implemented or the way it tied into other stuff.
Yeah.
What about summoning with no beasts of burden or combat familiars, but better skilling ones? I'd be all for that.
I could see that.
I'd be okay with some skilling additions.
I could see that.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they'd have to be very careful about how they introduced it to get it into the game, and
yes,
all the implications. Like they'd have to really, really delineate everything they wanted it to do and be capable of. But I think that if they did it right, I wouldn't mind it.
At that point, I think they should just introduce a new skill. Like if they're going to put that much
that's
effort in
fair.
it, they're going to completely change summoning, put all the effort into it to even get it pulled. Like just to have it on a pole, not even passing, they're going to have to explain in great detail all of the changes they're making and why it is good for the game.
Yeah.
And
Repull it and call it Artisan 2.0. Just call it Artisan.
I want
Slap a
Skill
name on it.
Slayer. Leave Artisan alone.
Make Artisan great again.
Thoughts on clan citadels?
I never really liked citadels
never
because
did
certain
them.
clans. I was in a few clans pre-EOC whenever citadels came out that were like they basically force you to go and do stuff, and I don't like that. I don't like being a part of something. It's like, hey, if you're going to be in here, go chop our trees and get us resources. I don't like doing that. Like I don't like being a part of something that forces me into doing something. RuneScape is very much a game, especially with Iron Man. I just go when I want to go. I do shit when I want to do it. I don't have to worry about anyone else or anything like that. And
I'm gonna try to wrap it up here.
yeah, I don't know.
I think clan citadels is one of
were
those
never a good
things
thing for
that
me.
old school just doesn't need it. There's no reason to bring that into the game. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also isn't it clan citadel is an instance thing. Like some people would just play within their citadel once in a while, and it's just like it. I feel like you're desaturating the game. Like we already don't have the biggest player base in the world. You really want to put a big chunk of people into citadels all the time, like an instance.
Yeah. Over instancing bad.
That also has implications for the game engine, right? Like that could too much instancing could be really bad. It could crash the world.
Yeah, that was the number one thing they were concerned about with raids. Was that
right.
Because every raid
Yeah.
is an instance.
Yeah.
They were really concerned that the amount of instances on release of raids was going to crash the servers. They were really scared of that.
Andrew has another question that I'd like to address, if you don't mind. How about when a hardcore Iron Man disconnects due to a DDoS or just a regular DC and dies, should Jagex give them another chance to have their hardcore status reinstated if it wasn't their fault? I think that if they had a good system for it and it was easy and like not time consuming for them to check the cause of the death, it would be good, but I don't see a way that they could really do that without taking up a big chunk of the developer's time to
Besides,
track
I
it.
mean, you could just pull the plug when you know you're
That's
in a
true.
dangerous situation.
That's very true. I think it'd be really hard to do right.
Let's look at other games that offer hardcore modes and are online. Do any of them do that? No.
I don't think so.
No.
You know the risks of playing a hardcore camp.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, yes, it is shitty,
Hmm.
but
Oh, there's another good question. Novacy asks, Should Dark Beasts receive a drop table buff similar to how Necreals and Gargoyles have, considering they are a level 90 Slayer monster?
They did. Their buff was just shit. They got a buff.
Did they?
They did get
Did
a
they?
buff.
Oh, well then they need
Yes.
another one. I say yes. I would totally support that.
Yeah.
Their drop tables were improved,
Their
but
drop
very
table is-
minorly.
Their drop table is garbage.
It wasn't improved at the same time that they pulled the question. It was buffed prior to that in a different buff. But the buff was way more minor. It's a way more minor change.
Yeah, they need more because they are a tier 90 Slayer creature, and I've done multiple trips where I've picked up literally nothing.
You don't even get that many on task.
No, you don't, unless you extend.
No.
They're good for point grinding if you don't extend them, to be honest, but like you can go. I did 2 tasks, I think that was about 30 kills total, and I picked up not a single item.
Diade Monster, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. What you're describing right there is exactly what a proposed skill called Artisan was.
Yep.
It was Slayer for skilling.
Yep.
And it failed to pull.
Twice.
It was pulled twice?
It was pulled twice. Because it was a near miss,
twice.
I think, wasn't it?
Wow.
It was also on a near miss pull.
I was so sad when it failed again. I would have loved that. I'd still love it.
It was close.
Yep.
All right, so I think we're gonna start wrapping up the podcast. We've gone for 2.5 hours now. I really have to use the restroom, and Ashton wants me to make dinner, so I think
go
it's
for
time to
food.
start wrapping up.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Food sounds really good right now.
It does sound
Yeah,
good.
we've been
Hey,
live for what,
We
2.5
could go meet
hours?
some of those taco people. Get some tacos.
We could.
Taco person, give me taco.
It would be great. I hope you guys really enjoyed the very first RFD podcast. We had a lot of fun doing it, or at least I did. I don't know about Rob and the taco people.
Fuck you. It was miserable.
I enjoyed it. If
No,
I
it's-
can
it's
say
been
something though, while we're wrapping up,
Yeah.
if anyone has any questions for like a next week's podcast, it will be next Friday at 6 p.m. EST, 5 p.m. CST, 11 p.m. midnight GMT.
Yeah, you're right.
11 p.m. GMT,
12 GMT
12
plus 1.
a.m. GMT plus 1.
Yep.
Then it would be 3 p.m. West Coast.
Yeah. Okay. So like,
Sorry,
if you got-
Australians, you don't have servers, you don't get time zones either.
Fair. Yeah, so this is going to be a weekly thing. If you guys have any questions, we do have a Twitter channel for or Twitter profile, whatever.
Yep.
We have a Twitter for the podcast. If you guys have questions during the week, feel free to tweet them there. We will take a look before next
Yep,
week's.
it's at RFD
next-
podcast, by the way.
At RFD Podcast.
Well, I'll grab a link for it.
Okay.
Like just fucking
Also, you
tweet
guys
there.
will be able to get this on my YouTube, also on Chase's YouTube as well. He's the guy right here. And we're also going to make this available on the KOA website. You'll be able to go on the KOA website and you should be able to rewatch this Twitch video there.
And I'm pretty sure there's
And
also going to be a
also-
download button, right?
Yeah,
they can
we're
download
going to
it.
make sure you
Okay.
can download it so you can listen to it in your car or whatever.
Yep.
We want to make sure it's available to you guys. We're going to be doing these every week unless we say otherwise.
We also, all three of us are full-time streamers of Old School RuneScape, so if you'd like to come check us out on other days that are not Fridays, feel free to do that too.
Yep.
And thank you very much for watching.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hayden, thank you for the
Bye.
follow. I love you.